DD is honestly like a decent trade. Like that DD is scary. You do not want to fight into it. And now, like I'm sure when they see Ember pop DD, the communication is he's used DD. Like if we take a fight like 30 seconds from now, that DD will have worn off. So you know we can maybe force some action. But at the same time, I don't know if they want to. No level 6 on Warlock. Their team fights it's lackluster. If anything, it's Talon who are the ones who are going to be trying to force some team fights.
And in fact, they do have that Chronosphere. He's sitting mid right now. Makoto will run into Gabby, jump forward, slight. That last remnant of the DD, almost enough. They're trying to dodge the Sunder. Yeah. And it looks like Makoto isn't going to tempt fate anymore, but that's still just slowing down Gabby's farm.
23 Savage on this Void is just unafraid of anything. I probably shouldn't be killable here. Although they do have a silence on Puck into a stun. Have I jinxed it?
Close.
No.
In trouble.
Okay.
Jumps out afterwards. They got the Dawnbreaker going in for the ulti hide right on top of Cuckoo. Cuckoo's dead. And now, with some extra pressure onto this tier 1 mid, I mean, that's the thing. You invest so much into Zephyr with this Leech Seed, and it means that you're losing a lot of value keeping these towers alive.
Yep. And that all happens because of that coil. Like, the only reason 23 Savage can position there is because coil is down. A Puck that was a level 3 silence, no magic missile. That's, you know, it was a good chunk of damage, got him down to like 200 health, but they just didn't have that follow-up. Lockdown or disable. They needed the Dream Coil, or they needed a Warlock level 6. Like, the supports are bit under level, or I don't know if Train had hit level 6 yet with the Tome yet. They hadn't come out, so they just didn't quite have the damage. And 23 Savage knew it, so just really heads up play from him. Talon, they're just crushing this early game. There's no answer to their tower push.
Looking really good, and there we go. Rebound, everybody jumps away at 1,000,000 movement speed because that's fair. And, you know, now they have to back out away again. Zephyr thought about throwing out that Nature's Grasp, but doesn't go for it. So you look across the entire map, and Talon are farming all 3 lanes. They're farming Dire Jungle. I just feel like they're getting way more out of the map right now. 3K gold lead for them.
Yeah. That's, I mean, if you're Talon, that's good news, because this Gabby TB was something they picked in their last 3 games against SMG, was ultimately the big late game carry. So if it goes late game on even footing, it's TB favored.
Gabby is brought down very low while in the jungle. Q will find the tree, throws out the magic missile. KP's still playing around that way. Q just gives the rebound and then dies. That was interesting.
Rebounded in, okay. I thought
maybe even try to rebound
away. I don't know either. No, Marcy, new heroes, still learning.
Sure.
No, maybe it was that anyways. I'm not sure. But another power rune going the way of Talon, because of all these towers being pushed and these lanes being pushed out. Like, these power runes just represent like pressure on the map, because it just means Talon have to play defensively. They're communicating. Every time Ember gets one of these runes, they're probably saying, like, you know, as soon as they see it, like, you know, Ember's got this rune. Like, we can't play aggressive, or he's gonna TP in and just like a haste Ember is just gonna get slide after slide off and be unkillable. So T1 have to play defensive. That's what their draft is kind of designed to do. They're protecting their ancients, farming triangle, and unfortunately losing supports who are just, you know, doing their job, just scouting out aggression. As a support, you're going to put your body on the line to try and secure some farm at this point.
Right, and this farm is a triple ancient stack right now that's being taken with a meta Terrorblade, so getting some farm going while they're losing heroes, but as you said, still losing those heroes, not great. Although likewise, Talon, I mean, the next objective is a little bit unclear at this point. You can try and maybe pressure a little bit for tier 2 top, with love obviously to get a Roche. That's where previously they had that like power from the shaman and just dropping wards for it. Not going to be the case this time, as Q does have rebound available. Actually, Q down super low. They will jaunt out. Cuckoo's still chasing for this one, but they won't be able to find anybody.
they're pinging Makoto, but he still doesn't have Searing Chains.
Oh my God.
Fair enough, I guess. But against a puck, like, they don't really have... It's funny because it's almost like the threat of a Searing Chains. Like, maybe they don't quite realize his skill build. Obviously, they know he maxed Light, but they maybe don't quite know how many points he got in the Flame Guard. Swap in.
Swap onto high, trying to get the D-Ward action going. And we'll get Overgrowth, and now they bring him down. Also, KP in some trouble. Drop the Golem, why don't they? Everything laid down onto Talon, and they get 2 quick kills. Not bad for T1.
A lot of big ultimates. So it's I totally agree. Not bad for T1, but the question is what happens now? Because Talon, they're going to fight back. Whether that's just taking a Roshan probably for free with no Overgrowth plus Chaotic Offering. Like, how do you contest a Roshan with Exorcism? Outside of Exorcism, they don't have the best Rosh taking, but Exorcism alone should be enough. So we'll see what Talon do, because theoretically they should have full control of the game for the next, like, 2 minutes while these ultimates are down.
Kodo finally gets Searing Chains, uses them now on the Golem, who will deny the bounty rune. They do finally get the gold for that one, and the second bounty rune will spawn, but still, it hurts a little bit there. 20 seconds until Exorcism, and Metamorphosis is back up, but as you said, those other control spells being lacking makes that one a little bit tough to come and contest.
Just popping the Unleashed on Roche.
Yeah.
That shows how valuable this ultimate is on a support Marcy. I think they'll have... maybe they don't need Exo, it looks like. They're killing Roach pretty fast without. And yeah, there's nothing T1 can do about this. Which is honestly... I mean, again, I think both teams are getting what they want right now. For T1, it's use our ultimates to win a good fight and then passively farm. For Talon, it's like, okay, ultimates are down. Get as much on the map as possible. Take Roshan, take objectives, put ourselves in the driver's seat. So it's going to come down to what Talon can get with this Aegis, particularly when T1 have ultimates back up.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
And that is, at least for now, the job for T1 is just split push, pressure out all these towers. It does look like down bottom, Gabby trying to get some pressure onto this tier 1 with the catapult here, and they should finally get it now. Also a mechanism done for Dawnbreaker, so they're very much hitting these timings, and I'm pretty sure that Makoto's gotten every rune. This Ember pick has worked out fabulously for Talon so far.
It really has. Like, just the ability to put pressure on the map, and Ember's just having a pretty free game. I'm curious. I love the mech pickup because it does feel like T1's way into this game is the big team fight, like the Overgrowth, the Warlock Rock, the Puck, and the way to play into that is just having, like, you know, mechs, pipes, Wraith packs. So Hyde going for a mech to me, yeah, makes a ton of sense when you're up against this big AoE team fight.
Smoke up now. Makoto underneath that one. We'll run into a couple here. Cuckoo has the Aghanims being delivered right away. Q's going to catch him. His courier, it's getting close, will be delivered now. As the Overgrowth comes out, Zephyr dies. And I think that just about ends the fight. I don't know. I mean, I guess they have Warlock ulti. But scary. Hard to fight into this.
Yeah. Yeah, the big thing with Venge Axe to me is always don't commit too much to kill Venge. Like, Venge with buyback, it's like you've got 4 lives. Venge without buyback, I mean, it's still the double life, and it just doesn't feel valuable to kill a Venge in a team fight. In like a pick-off sense, sure, but the way you lose a fight if you're Talon is by overcommitting too many spells on a Venge and then getting counterplayed by this big team fight. So Cuckoo's going to be dangling himself in what looks like bad positions to try and basically feed away his life to win a team fight.
Right. Or alternatively, if there's a good Chronosphere, can come on in and save the TB at that point. This is another option, but we'll have to see if they go for it. But it doesn't feel like T1 want to take that fight anytime soon. It is definitely the chill zone for the moment. Although Makoto will run into Cuckoo there and then just walk away, go back to farming.
Yeah, it's definitely nice because it doesn't feel like there's any easy chrono targets, because if Venge frontlines, you know, Venge acts as kind of like a Wraith King where it's like, you know, you've got the multiple lives. You don't want to chrono a Venge. TB, if he frontlines, you don't want to chrono TB because he'll get swapped out. So basically chrono is not a spell that will typically start a fight. It's going to be something used after, you know, midway towards in the fight, or even after all the swaps and stuff have been used. Or on the back lines. Like, if anything, someone like a Puck becomes a good target if Venge swap is down.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
A haste rune for Makoto. And Talon, how much time left on this Aegis? They've still got 2 minutes. We'll see if they want to get something done with it, or if they're confident just continuing to farm. But actually, T1 are the ones that are going to smoke up now.
Yeah. They seem to have a read on where Talon are and that they're passively farming, so they want to find some kills. Out of
They won't be able to quite catch them there. Just barely away.
I like this Aether Lens that Cuckoo has queued up. It's just works so well with the hero, with the swaps as well as the magic missile. Everything Cuckoo wants to do this item, I feel like, just amplifies it.
Yeah. Shard eventually as well, if that's an opportunity for him, if he wants to go for that one.
I like
it. Really good. But for now, at least, they'll back on out again. T1 still comfy, just sitting back and farming. I think that this is going to be 2 holy lockets eventually. Not sure if Whitemon's going for it or not, but Zephyr's already finished his. So lots to heal.
In the dire. Oh, jeez, yeah. Heals galore. And, you know, it's a 3K gold lead for Talon, but when you look at the net worths, there's the one hero on top. It's Gabby. He's TB. And it's like, can they actually kill a TB in late game? They don't have crazy magic burst and they're
committing a lot onto this bet. And a little bit of a heal coming in. Looks like they will, and yeah, Cuckoo, no way out. Dies twice.
Got a Kurin's way out, but that's fine. Going on the Venge when you make, like, you see enough heroes elsewhere on the map that they suddenly recognize Cuckoo was a little bit too far alone, utilizing the Marcy with the dispose, just the blink initiation. Doesn't even have the Aether Lens yet on Q, so that's going to give him even better cast range for his initiation. And, you know, they waited till the end of the Aegis, but it looks like they'll get this bottom tier 1 tower plus the Venge kill. Kind of a slow, passive. But it wasn't quite near enough maybe to fight under.
Yeah.
And also, maybe again, like I mentioned earlier, like they're making these calls when Ember has every single fight. He seems to have a power rune. He had an arcane rune there. Just having rune control for these team fights can make such a big difference for a hero like Ember, who gets so much value from an arcane rune.
And I guess that's the thing. Like, if they just do these couple little pot shots here, this is where the tree does start to look pretty good too, because you're not really losing that much damage on your towers. You've got the potential to turn things around. They can wait for that perfect fight, and they don't lose much. They just keep getting stronger. I mean, obviously the Philosopher's Stone kind of hurts in a way, but I think that, like, you also have a couple of heroes that do a ton without a ton of farm. With the Warlock, with the Venge, these are still high impact heroes in the late game.
Yeah, there's not really any item that changes Warlock's impact on this game. The Glimmer's nice and all, but it's very minor as far as changing how your game plays out. Zephyr's Blink Dagger, I think that's a pretty big one, particularly against BKB cores. But, you know, for now, yeah, they probably don't even know they're behind. I'm sure Gabby's just saying, like, guys, I'm really farmed. If this game continues at this pace, like, how do they kill me? I've got a Venge who can just sit behind me and swap me out, or, you know, if our Venge is frontlining, then they're ignoring me. So I think Gabby is set up to carry this game, which is very fitting considering, you know, T1 versus Talon, the drama with the carry players on this team, 23 Savage being picked, Gabby, you know, with some of the comments he's made in the past. Like, this is a spicy one, and this game one is going to come down to the carries.
It is very fitting. Who was right, who was left? It'll all be decided here all the memes. Oh, and it might start soon, actually. Be careful now.
They're a little late for the road.
Heading into the pit. I mean, it's always that big question. You know, you see that the exorcism is used. You see that there's an opportunity where they're all grouped together, but decide to wait for the big battle later. That one is a little bit nicer now. You do get the shard, which I think was given over to 23 Savage. So he's getting very farmed, getting towards that Satanic next.
Definitely a nice shard. And as a carry, you don't want to buy it this early on, usually, just because it's like 1,400 gold. It's not really like suited to carrying, but like being able to time walk in, time walk back out, like, whoa, swap in mid.
Big swap, finds Hyde, stun afterwards, and he's just gone.
Yeah, just quick and easy pick off. I think they saw KP up top. They also know there's no exorcism, so it's one of those things where often these Death Prophet teams will use Exo to take Rotan, but then for the next minute, they actually lose ground while having Aegis because the opponent's no Exos down, so Tier 1 mid tower and a pick off. That's honestly really nicely done by T1. This game still feels like it's this very kind of even stalemate almost. Talon with a, you know, obviously tactical advantage. They're the ones kind of controlling the tempo a bit more. They've got an Aegis. But again, I don't feel like T1 are going to feel like their position is bad by any means. If they lose Carl, then maybe they're a little worried.
That time dilation, you get caught by that. It's a rare form of control that really hurts Puck a lot. Yeah. So a nice little catch there.
I was going to say, right after he died, I think he needs a Linken's. And I think he queued it up after he dies. Playing into the Marcy, like, Linken's just becomes, to me, a must-buy item on like a hero like a Puck this game. Or he needs an Aeon, one of the two.
Yeah. Well, they do manage to find right there a nice pick-off, and now heading on in, trying to take down this tower. Tree will keep it alive as long as possible.
Gotta be careful. This tree may... Yeah, they're gunning for him. Okay.
He just walks away.
Okay. He knew what he was doing.
Oh, he gets caught. Nope, never mind. He didn't know. He gets caught and killed off. So Zephyr goes down again.
Oh, honestly, that was super incredible by Makoto. Like, having the sense to know he was still there. Often you would slight the scouting, but he didn't just slight. He hit the searing chain as well.
Right.
Like, going for the full combo blindly in the trees there. Super heads up.
Are fortified.
And they force out the glyph, but this is going to eventually still fall. So Tree not able to keep it alive anymore. Towards mid, though. They find Hyde. Cuckoo, Carl, the heal. Trying to keep him alive and dodge out of this one, but eventually breaks the coil. And can they find a pick off? That doesn't look like it.
Yeah, they saw Ember go bottom, but yeah, obviously the assumption is, he did leave a Fire Remnant behind, but Makoto a bit low in mana. He needs a rune or something here, it looks like. It just isn't available to him, so nice find by T1. This is the big thing they have to do when Aegis is up, is just keep sending these TB illusions bottom, force rotations bottom. Like, yeah, Ember's a decent hero to deal with the split push because you can always remnant back in, but you just gotta, keep Ember honest, keep the pressure up on the map, and just try and, it's kind of like turtling it up a little bit, but you can't turtle in your base. You need to actually be aggressive by, pushing out both bottom and mid lane.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Well, and we are starting to see maybe a little bit of a problem here. As much as we're talking about how good this looks for Gabby in the late game, Carl is definitely falling behind slightly. His other opponent in Makoto, who is starting to build up a little bit of advantage, already has the Lincoln Sphere. Cuckoo, they break the Lincolns right there. Going to commit everything now on to this Venge. Carl looks for a turnaround. Second round, couple bashes, tries to throw out the stun, is going to connect, and now jumping back and forth. Cuckoo will manage to stay alive. Coil afterwards, connecting now, trying to bring down 23 Savage. Is he going to get away? No. So that is Aegis down. Do they have round 2 of this, though? Gabby going to stand right on top, wants chase, but it's a little bit dangerous, and without another coil, I don't think T1 have enough control.
Yeah, they don't have the blink on tree. I think if they have the blink on tree, they can maybe go on 23 Savage there, because if they force his BKB, then they blink Overgrowth and TP kills him, but this blink on tree, it's just about to come up. And he did end up getting the Philosopher's Stone, so Treant has one as well now. I think they just got it a little bit later, so that's a very big item, but before we can get there, Talon, they've smoked up. They've got all their ultimates other than the Solar Garden, and they want to force a fight here. But Gabby, good map awareness.
Yeah, scans also, and they saw that was coming their direction.
Cuckoo mid, but no follow-up. Marcy just with a blink disposed, but the rest of the team did not want to commit that deep.
Yeah, they were going over for the Terrorblade illusions, I guess. But no such luck. So again, another round of Aegis, but not really any objectives taken. They took that top tier 2 tower. And that does open up the ability to come on in and take outposts. So that's going to be something to watch for. Makoto. Whitemon. He's invis there. Gets found. Rooted. Wants to jump away. And the pull off to the side. Cuckoo swaps him out afterwards. They got Chaotic Offering, but he needs to wait for the silence to wear off. Cuckoo low. In some trouble. And getting healed back up, barely living through it, jump in, and there's the dispose. Round 2, the stun is there. They had to go all in for that one. BKB out from Gabby, and now the Chaotic Offering. Where's the follow-up? They don't have Metamorphosis, so it just has to go toe-to-toe, and the Chrono's right on top of them. Overgrowth afterwards, looking for Zephyr. They walk back into the Chrono after that one. Double kill for Savage. Cuckoo now has to run in the illusion form. No buyback, means he can't get into this fight. Talon, they're just looking too strong. Coil?
Coil, where's the follow-up? I don't think they've got any.
No, not at all. Carl does not have nearly enough damage.
Yeah,
and Rooted? Oh my god, jumps in. And he's low. Yule Scepter. He needs to run away. Yeah.
We've talked a lot about, like, T1 taking these fights and really, you know, playing well when Chrono and Exorcism were down. That's exactly what Talon just did. The big ultimate that isn't an ultimate is Metamorphosis, and Gabby without meta there just couldn't really dish out damage. You know, he got swapped out of the Chrono. I don't actually think he was going to die there. It was just a very chaotic situation where Cuckoo, you know, trying to do his job to save his buddy there, but swaps himself in, and just in the end, you know, T1 do disengage, lose a couple of supports along the way, and unfortunately also, again, lose Cuckoo, who's kind of just being this kind of frontline sacrificial lamb to try and keep buying them time to kind of delay this game, but they've got to fight with Metamorphosis, because with a meta there, T1 clean up. But the reason that fight happens is because Talon know there's no Metamorphosis.
Is under attack.
Right, and what's been a sort of odd decision to go on in right there after so many good decisions about when to not fight, just seems very uncharacteristic from what we had seen before. We do have a little bit of a headset issue, and T1, they're going to need to figure out what's going on right here. I mean, I'm trying to look at like net worth and the way that things could change. Like if they still fight with all their ultis and everything up for T1, do you think that they can still take it?
Oh, absolutely. This game is 100% down to execution. I don't think this is one of those things where we've gone late game and it's like, okay, this team has an edge and should win now. I think the execution is easier for the side of Talon, just because, you know, spells like Chrono, what Ember brings to the table, Death Prophet can force objectives, and they have full roach control. So Talon's execution is easier, whereas T1 have to use a lot more finesse with the way they utilize the swap. You know, there's some cute plays they can make with like coil into swap to break it. The Treant with the blink overgrowth as a BKB counter. So, you know, it's definitely possible for T1. Just they've got to be really clean with their teamfight execution, which is something they're known for. T1, when it came to like, you know, they're getting results at TI and stuff, they were all about playing the 50, 60-minute late games, farming it up, Cuckoo playing greedy offlaners. So late game Dota is usually the T1 specialty.
Well, they're going to need to pull out some of that magic again in this one. And on the side of Talon, I mean, I guess the other thing that they have to be careful about is that you have one bad fight and it can all turn back around. And usually this third Roche is where some of that stuff can start to happen. You know, you lose a fight leading into it, then suddenly you get a lucky Aghanim Scepter spawn. It can all start looking really bad really quickly.
Yeah, I think the big thing for them is just keeping it clean, not forcing a Roche when they don't need to. And so far, that's exactly what we've seen. Like 23 Savage as well as Makoto have both played flawless games. Like there's been one death between the two, and that was Avoid dying because Puck at level 6 TP'd bottom, like in a very unexpected gank, which like it's not even 23 Savage's fault he dies there. So the fact, honestly, Makoto's one of these players, like he'll have, in the past, he's been known for, you know, winning his lane and being too aggressive and, you know, maybe throwing the game a bit. We have not seen that at all. His Ember has been flawless so far.
Well, it does look like we have all players back into the game. and getting ready to go underway yet again. A game that has been characterized by dodged fights and Talon staying in the driver's seat. And then finally get a couple of really good ones based off of some strange stuff going on from T1. And now we'll see where they end up going from here. But complete and total vision control into the favor of Talon. I think there's only one ward on the map right now for T1, and it's like barely into their triangle. So these next couple of minutes could start to look a little bit rough here.
Definitely feels like you can really feel the tension with the way these two teams are playing this game.
Gabby manages to take the bottom tier 2 tower after, big ultis are on cooldown, pressuring out the map, and T1 will retake this side of it.
It's nice. Get this outpost and really play around this bottom lane effectively now. Yeah, as they've been doing, they see hide here.
Swap in. Long range. And in some trouble. Gabby doesn't want to pop Metamorphosis, won't need to. And actually, all right, we're talking about all these things that are going great for Talon. Go. Suddenly, they're up on their high ground. Chrono, 22 seconds. Makoto turned upon. Lincoln's broken. Carl, he's right there on top of it, too. They don't have TPs on these heroes. They're using them to get back now. Everybody's coming back in. 1083 Savage jumps forward. Time dilation. Disarmed on Gabby. Yeah, this is very scary. Q tried to find him. Dispose is finally there afterwards. 23 Savage jumps in again. Silence out from KP. And
T1 have to disengage. Meta's wearing off slowly, and now Talon, they want to chase. They know Meta's only got 10 seconds left. They want to force this.
Turn, swap, Savage jumps in. BKB has Chrono available if they want to use it. Waiting on it, last second, gets it off. Makoto right on top of his goal, but the Overgrowth comes out. Now round 2, the heal coming in afterwards. Enough for the kill onto TB. And it was a bold move from T1, but it does not pay off. Cuckoo is going to drop down to the south as well. And just like that, they will lose 3. Maybe more, Carl.
In the base, Carl, he's out. Okay, didn't have vision for the Yule Scepter. Great chase from Talon, just forcing the issue there. And I think T1 knew they're chasing him. We can't outrun them. A hero like Void will just keep chasing you down. So T1 got forced to basically, at some point, they're like, we just got to fight. We got to try going this Void and kill him there. And I think he kind of got swapped in, and they were very late maybe on the Overgrowth. It looked like Zephyr just couldn't get his Blink Overgrowth off in time to maybe help out against the Void, and that really cost them. The big issue is the Void doesn't just have BKB, so he pops BKB, but he still has the Satanic as an additional dispel as well, so it just makes it so hard.
Yeah, the popping Satanic for that. And I guess that's maybe part of the reason that 23 Savage was waiting for a little bit to pop the Chrono so we could at least get some value out of the Satanic too. All in all, just a really solid fight from Talon. And, while we've been saying that, T1 are definitely still in it, Talon have not looked back once. They have continued to control this game, albeit being close earlier. Now it is pretty handedly in their favor, at least for the moment, but can't relax too much. Although Roche is back up again. We'll see if they try and take that right away.
Yeah. As for T1, Metamorphosis will be back up, so they've got all their key spells if they want to make their move out on the map, but Roche will drop too fast. I don't think they're kind of in a position to get there in time. This is just, honestly, so much goes back to Talon's approach to this game with the draft. Like, they very much designed a draft around playing Radiant. It's something...
Sink to the deep and hurt and defeated. Thought I could do this, left through the sadness. Don't know how I ended up so lost. Sink to the deep and hurt and defeated.
We had a little bit of a rerun there in the break, that T1 Talon matchup. If you guys haven't seen it, you can go back and watch it, but I would advise doing that after this series because we do have Fnatic up against SMG. It's our final Division 1 series, actually final series for week 4 of SEA. And just like before, I'm going to have Fear by my side, and in the other timeout chair over there is Gods.
Timeout?
Pretty cozy.
Yeah, everyone seems to like that chair, except for me, the one person who is supposed to be sitting in that chair. I don't know why.
I'm the captain now.
Yeah. All right. Yours. All
It's pretty
right.
cozy.
Please
Run
run us through the show then.
So you see, we have Fnatic vs SMG coming up. I promised Nat I would do a terrible job hosting to ensure
to make
that
me look good.
Nat looks good and gets hired for the major. So I don't know where it's going on. Sorry, guys. Let's go to a break.
Let's go to a break. We're not going to go to a break. I am going to ask you guys, though, just some general thoughts about Fnatic, SMG. I know, Gods, at the very start of the show, you said this series was going to go 2-1 in favor of Fnatic. Seeing Boom go 2-0 up against RSG, does it change your viewpoint, or you think SMG is just going to pull a hat trick, something we haven't seen before and really surprise Fnatic?
I think SMG is just a random team.
Okay.
Very much so.
Yeah, everyone can agree with that.
And they seem to show up more when they play against Fnatic. Like in some of the past tours, and they beat them in the regional finals. These two teams to me just have like this history where, for whatever reason, Fnatic sometimes struggles against SMG, even though I think overall they still have, they did beat them last tour. And SMG's been more of this middle of the pack team. Fnatic, hands down, better team. But I don't know. Just my gut tells me it's going 3 games.
Okay. Could be that little bit of kryptonite. We're going to see what the players' guts tell them in this interview matchup video.
I just want to play our SMG DOTA. Yeah. That's all, I think. We play for our timing, like we keep going, we don't afraid to lose, but sometimes we lose, right? Yeah, we don't afraid, yeah. Just go.
I think they are a really strong team. The big thing is we shouldn't lose lane against them because they will keep coming to us. I think as long as we have a 50-50 lane, it's all gonna be good. If they don't do their own gameplay or they drag the game longer, I feel like we're just gonna win.
Junior and DJ always give me some headache heroes. Like Junior always playing some hero like Weaver, always make me, oh my god, this guy is so annoying. That's how I feel, yeah.
There's a lot of games when I watch SMG, they're really strong in the everything, but suddenly they're gonna lose for whatever reason. But they're really strong. I think we play more stable because I feel like if they fail when they keep dying, I feel like we can just win easy.
Our 2-core, our 3-core, yeah, it's better than them, I guess. I think Nana will win the mid lane for sure. I think they kinda like to split. So if we hit on our timing and we keep going on them, they cannot split. They cannot farm. I feel like that's quite hard time for them. Yeah, any one of them, like if they play that side is not their map and we see them, we just go on them. Yeah.
For me, it's more on Moon and Raging Potato. They're the one who keep coming. It's gonna be a bloody mid matchup. I think it's gonna be Moon against Armel, but let's see who's the best.
If we want to play good, I think we need to focus more at one point. Like I have broken English already. I don't explain very easy on live, blah blah blah. Yeah. That's how I feel. I just want to everyone be here. Let's play some Dota. Let's focus. Yeah.
Against them, you shouldn't have a lot of deaths, especially in the lane. I should not feed against SMG.
I think Januel has probably the most contagious laugh out of all the players. He is so cheeky. But we're not going to talk about Fnatic just yet. It's SMG. Both sides, Arfu and Januel, they're talking about SMG's timings, their play styles, making sure that they're, hitting these moments that they're supposed to be hitting in the game. But Phil, what even is that for SMG?
I feel like this team in general is like pure chaos. So you never know what you're going to get. Like, Moon is a very stable player. I think Afu and Pi also very stable. The two wild cards for me are Raging Potato. Is he going to play, off-lane Ember? Mid one, is he going to be playing Carry Lush? Like, they have such a diverse hero pool. You don't know what they're going to do there. Generally speaking, Moon, I'd like to see him play more of a Spirit. He should be the MVP of this team for me. But sometimes they put him on, like, Wyvern more times than not. More times than I'd like to see. And, like, he doesn't do bad on the hero, but like he really excels at his laning and map movement, and I want to see them give him those heroes and just ask him to kind of calm down on like the chaos and just try to play a little more stable and more so in their picks as well as their play.
Yeah, SMG have a recipe for success. Hopefully they do stick to the ingredients this time around, as they are facing up against a Fnatic, a very notorious team here. And do you think that mid matchup against Armel is going to be the bloodbath we're talking about, Gods?
I'd expect so. It's going to depend, as often it does, on what the actual hero matchups are. Sometimes you're just going to end up in a farming mid matchup, like Armel will bust out a mid coddle from time to time. So it really depends on the heroes. If anything, I think it's going to be SMG, particularly with their, active roaming supports who are going to want to, come fight over runes, maybe even just come gank him and look for those kills. So it's definitely a case where there's going to be a lot of pressure on Armel, and that's where I think some of the other lanes, particularly Raven on carry, should, I think he's someone who should have a pretty good game. We're seeing him play quite a wide range of heroes. Last year, there was like some lone druids coming out. He's played some Nature's Prophet. He's playing a few more tempo carries as well as like the hard carries. He's showing a huge flexible hero pool. So I'm very curious to see what Raven plays today.
Okay, we heard Afu in those little interviews talk about Fnatic being more of a split type of team, that's how they do like to play. Do you think that's an accurate read? Is that what we can expect to see from Fnatic more times than not?
I used to agree with that, but recently they've been playing more like a ball up style. They've been playing like the Juggernaut, had like a DK, Visage, and they're just running down lanes and ending games fairly quickly. So I think they've kind of like made a meta shift, and at least within their own team, and like they're not split up as more. They're talking more about grouping up. It's like, hey guys, we can't, throw the game like they used to a lot. If by split pushing, if we group up, it's great. We can just do Roche. We can play methodically, and they looked really good doing so. Okay.
Do you think that's going to now be the downfall for SMG, maybe having a slight incorrect reading or not realizing that Fnatic have made that shift?
It could be. I think especially if they play too aggressive or try and fight into Fnatic's ball, I think a lot's going to come down to the lanes, because that's, to me, is where SMG have to at least come out maybe with like a 60-40 advantage. If SMG don't do on the lanes or go even, I think it's going to be Fnatic's game at that point.
Okay. This game one draft here, Fnatic don't want to see the Winter Wyvern at all. I guess they know that it has that flex potential on SMG, like you talked about, could go mid.
Yeah, I guess. But
I don't know if you want to be afraid of the mid Wyvern. Maybe that's not why they're banning it, but it is there. It is banned out. It's not going to be an option at all.
I think it shows a lot of like how they want to play. They want to group up. A lot of like the Zoo. I see Jab is playing like there's the Visage. He's playing a lot of. That hero is really good against the Zoo and really good against like this group up style. So I think they've identified how they want to play. As far as I know, we'll see what they pick. But I think they want to go for that style, and Wyvern is like a tell of like, yeah, this hero's good at defending your base and has that team fight there to just help against teams that want to just group up.
5 seconds remaining.
Slower opening, but SMG coddle.
See it again, yeah.
Yeah.
Fnatic's turn to pick.
To Mars immediately. I'm noticing this hero just came back.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
No buffs, no nerfs, just
people are staying away from it, then like, you know what? It's not that bad. Let's just go back and pick it. Everyone tried the Zoo phase for a little bit. I feel like this region specifically, like we cover a lot of Eastern Europe, and the Zoo is so prevalent there. That's like their go-to. You're going to see Beastmaster every single phase. I feel like we tried that and see here for a little bit, and now we're just back to the Mars Mango.
It's the same in Western Europe. I think it was today. I saw a post on Reddit about, I think it was Amar and Gorg or something. They had like an offlaner tier list, and all the S tier offlaners were all the Zoo heroes. It was like Lycan, Visage, and Beastmaster were like, oh, these are the best offlaners. And then here in C, they seems like, what's Lycan? We didn't. That's not a hero. It's just classic Fnatic stuff. Get some DJ Shaman. I mean, maybe not so much. Mars is just classic every team. It's not like a Jab special or anything, but the DJ Shaman is just their own little flair.
Nothing too crazy about these openings just yet.
Yeah, I
10
mean,
seconds remaining.
Fnatic really like the Shaman, especially on Radiant, because they will do that
5
Roche
seconds
incredibly
remaining.
early. I've
That's
seen
a
them
really
pick
good
it up a lot, and they'll normally supplement this with another type of like. I guess it won't be an offlaner this game. Before I said like some Visage, they could pick up a Juggernaut, maybe a DK in the mid lane, and it really just like gives you this early tempo where you can just ball up. And a lot of Fnatic's victories have been off the back of Shaman plus like one other pushing hero.
I'm going to put you on the spot here, Fia, because
Perfect.
for some reason you have like this insane memory despite I've
Yikes.
never seen you actually write something down. When is the earliest Roche you can remember Fnatic getting with the Shaman?
Oh, they did one like super early. It was like sub 10 minutes. I can't give you like the exact number.
That's fine. You don't have to give me the exact number to
Yeah.
the second. That's impressive already.
No, I remember there was a game. It was like just shy of like 30 minutes, and they're already doing their third Roche. You know, you're like, dang.
That is just how impactful they can be with that Shadow Shaman on the side of Fnatic. But SMG closing out this first phase with a Clockwork pickup.
10 seconds
I
remaining.
like the clock. I mean, it's just it's straight up here that causes Shaman problems.
5
counter,
seconds
essentially.
remaining.
So we'll see how where it ends up going. It's also, there's at least some slight flexibility. We've seen Clockwork 5 position, 4 position, even the rare 3 position Clockwork. So
The extremely rare 2
Fnatic
position.
Position, yeah.
to battle.
Extremely rare, but it has been there.
it has. I think that was a very short-lived experiment.
Oh yeah. But it was still, it was this match and it was there.
That was like the mid laners. They saw this clock buff and they were like,
Yeah,
let's.
this is gonna happen.
It's like this hero can farm now, but it
10
can't be a
seconds
carry. It doesn't, it doesn't scale. It doesn't.
Can it though? we haven't seen
That's
it.
what you
yet.
think.
If there's a team who would
Yeah,
carry,
it is SMG.
I was like, that sounds like something only SMG would do. Wait a second.
Yeah. We haven't
picked
seen the Battle Fury Clockwork yet.
Oh dear. I feel like he's more a Radiance carry. He's not hitting fast enough for a Battle Fury.
Need the mana to spam your battery assault to farm. It works.
Yeah.
Do you feel like Raging Potato could ever do the clock? Do you think that genuinely is something he's like, yeah, let's test it out. Why not?
Obviously, he can. He's probably thought of it at least once.
He's probably sitting there. He's like, yeah, they don't know what's coming. This 3 position Clockwork.
Yeah. I feel like his playstyle and role in SMG is pretty defined. We've even interviewed him, and he's like when we have asked him about like his random embers and Quap off lanes, he's like, yeah, I just go off lane and buy Spirit Vessel. That's his thing. Is he just buys Spirit Vessel for the team every single game, and he likes to run at enemies and just wreak havoc. Play super aggressive usually, basically creating space for his cores and really setting them up to be the ones to carry games. So I'm Clockwork, can fit the role if needed.
Okay.
Yeah, just chilling, waiting for the bans here. Well, they're just banning for Shaman. Like DJ has that much impact that he's just gonna get all the bans for himself. It looks like. I mean, both these heroes are okay. They're smart too. Night Stalker can fly out of the arena, quite annoying. But more than anything, like Night Stalker and Beast are good versus the Shadow Shaman. They don't want to deal with DJ getting picked off in the team fights. Because he does have a ton of impact on this hero. Like he's very patient. And he can like lock down cores for like feels like forever.
Yeah.
You don't deal with them.
And there's nothing worse than coming into a team fight 4v5 almost immediately. If Sean gets picked off in the back line.
Yeah. He always gets a ton of farm too. Like I feel like he gets much higher priority when it comes to just split push farm, and he'll be sneakily taking towers, and then suddenly he'll show up to a team fight with like a blink BKB, and you're like, oh, this shaman's a problem suddenly.
Like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
10 seconds remaining.
And on the side of SMG, those bans, anything shocking? Or you're like, why that hero?
SMG is like Razor. They were first picking it, I think, in their last series and played it offlane or something. I recall.
Yeah. Whereas SMG bans, maybe they're banning the Ember for the Coddle. They're doing that again. Or it's more Warlock. Or team fight.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't really show that much. They figured to just pick a support here. I agree with that. And then on their next pick, SMG is going to show where this Coddle's going now, most likely.
Seems pretty like every time teams who have this pick coming in the second phase, they always just pick their missing support and force the opponents to reveal stuff.
So do you feel that this pick? Don't worry, we're just going to see it instead.
Ooh, they played Enigma in their last series. Did not win. Did not do that well. But they got to that series.
They did.
I mean, this region, was, in my opinion, like picks Enigma a lot is the Zoo choice, and it is always
10
against a
seconds
counter too.
remaining.
Like they
Yes.
always pick it into
Why-
a black hole counter. They pick it
Yeah.
into
5
Warlock. It's like
seconds remaining.
it's very strange.
Turn to pick.
Like it could be a perfect Enigma game, a free black hole game, but they won't go for Enigma. Then they'll wait to see if they're playing versus a Wyvern or a Rubik. Then they'll pick the Enigma.
Well, SMG going all in on the offlaners here. One of these heroes is going mid.
Yeah,
I guess maybe Coddle's going mid.
10 seconds remaining.
yeah. Where's Enigma going?
Or Enigma 4 or 5.
seconds.
I mean, I imagine Coddle
I don't
is
know.
probably going mid, but
It's Necro carry Coddle 5 and
could be.
3-4 Enigma clock. Guys, come on. You can't read that?
Yeah. Sorry, Nat. You need to get on your level.
no, I think it is definitely something that I think they could do. They could do Necro plus the clock against, the Mars Shaman if they really want to win the lane. But like, that's not a real carry hero. Right now they have a lot of magic damage, and here comes like the point of where you might end up seeing like either they could go for the Wraith King if they really want to. I think it's a pretty free Medusa game here as well, actually. Absolutely free Medusa game if they want to pick
Raven
it.
needs to straighten his glasses. Like, what's going on, dude?
Yeah.
He's got some serious tilt going on.
You should just pick. They just win the game if they pick Medusa. it's just over.
Yeah.
Let's see if you can think of something better than that. But I'm pretty sure like you're playing versus Enigma, you're playing against Necro, Coddle, Mystic Snake is gonna give you full mana every time you cast it this game. Scotty,
Dire
that's so
team
good.
banned.
But they're going with
The jug.
Jug. I was gonna say Magic Community is good this game. Like I was like Lifestealer Jug, yeah, it could be good, but you're dealing with, it's not a free game where you can get spin off, right?
Mhm.
There is the black hole, of course you can rely on your Warlock to stop that. Hook shot's a little annoying
10
as well.
seconds remaining.
Definitely not a bad Jug game. I think Medusa's a free one though,
5
but
seconds
whatever.
remaining.
This seems to be Fnatic trying to stick to the new Fnatic. They
Yeah.
don't pick in these greedy late game farmers. They've been trying a lot more tempo carries.
Mhm.
Even when it hasn't worked. Like, I remember there was a Weaver game where they're like, okay, they're going to pick Weaver, and he farmed a bit too much, and it felt like that was the takeaway there was
Yeah.
the pick was fine, but come on, Raven, you got to get involved.
It's
Be
all
active.
right. This was my second choice, so it's still not bad.
You're not disliking it by any means.
Yeah.
What are Fnatic then sort of lacking in terms of, do you feel they have enough team fight?
10
Would
seconds
you like
remaining.
some more objective taking? Like where does this draft?
They,
them
they got
to?
everything. All they need now is just
Something they enjoy going
I was
with?
say Bat Rider, like that would have been perfect. That type of hero where they can just put it mid, I can just run at this Necro and just keep killing him.
Mhm.
That's like the ideal. Like Zeus is in the pool, I'd love to see Zeus. It's a really good Zeus game. They have enough stuns, they got enough team fight, they got their carry. They just need a hero that can kill SMG's heroes in like the mid game. Preferably all game long, but
And then if we flip to SMG's side,
yeah, no, we can't. I don't have no idea what's going
I
on
was
there.
like, we don't even really know where everything's going. But if you had to say something, just something they're missing, right? Do you feel they're taking those objectives? The same thing. Like, how are they going to hold up in team fights? You know?
They need at least something that scales a bit here.
Okay.
Like, I don't think you can safe lane Necro. If you're safe lane Necro, then you need a mid that scales a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're looking for a mid one pick.
That's more
Really?
likely than anything.
All right, give me their lanes then. If the mid one isn't playing Necro, I need to know.
I think it's
Fanatics
mid Cuddle
turn
and
to ban.
Raging Potato offlane Necro.
And then 5 Enigma or 4 Enigma?
4 or 5 clock Enigma. I'm not sure which is
Okay.
which, but
Interesting.
I
I
don't know. I feel like mid one, if he's playing a carry, like a magic one, he's usually like a more active, a fun hero. He's not a Necro guy.
10
He's a
seconds
less track
remaining.
Queen of Pain carry guy, that I'm going to do a bunch of damage with my
5
spells. Like
seconds
Necro is.
remaining.
That's a boring ass carry hero.
I mean, just to like make any sense of their drafting style, I'd say they want a 4. But
Okay. Do you think Necro carry, Coddle mid?
it only
offlane
makes sense
Enigma?
because they
Yeah,
saw Mars and Shadow Shaman. I was like, that
Okay.
has to be their
Team pick.
response. I wanted to see a Tusk from them here to lane with Enigma off lane, Coddle mid, and then just go with it. You already drafted this. Play it. I don't think Necro wants to go against this Warlock Jug lane. Let me tell you that. Does not sound fun.
10
He's
seconds
level 3.
remaining.
He's just going to chain feed.
They definitely don't have too much time on SMG, so soon enough we are going to find out all 5 picks.
And if they do go for the Enigma offlane, it's a really good lane matchup for Jug. He doesn't want to commit spin to your Eidolons, nor can he get it.
Monkey King.
This could be anything. I mean,
Yeah, I was going to say, does this clear anything up for you guys?
It's probably mid 1, I would say, but
imagine.
it's not guaranteed.
Could be played as 4, could be played as a 1. They could pick and choose what they want to do with this. I guess Enigma at this point.
5 seconds remaining.
Here, there's something looks wrong with their lineup. That's all I've got to say. And now things look really bad. I was talking about that magic damage that they needed. The Zeus could be good. That's Viper. He's also got that magic damage.
It is a Raging Potato Necro.
Yeah. That just seems like a Raging Potato hero. He likes to play these.
It's going to be a Raging Feeder in that offlane, I think.
Insane. SMG's lineup, very difficult to predict, but 2 very predictable people are Mike and John, who are our casters. And I hope they do not take that as an insult. It's nice to be predictable. It's predictable because you're always consistent in the amazing work you do. And I feel like I'm digging myself a hole as I'm just going to say, yes, please, Mike, talk over me.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're having the battle of the CEOs once again here between Fnatic and SMG. I'm very, very excited to see it go down. SMG's draft, a little bit confusing, right? Not much team fight going on. A lot of single pick off here with the Coddle Necro, you know, your Dagon, your Solar Bind, your Reaper Sight. Someone's going to die, but I don't know about this. So SMG's draft, it looks like it's quite lacking in team fight. Like you've only got Enigma against Warlock. It's probably not going to work out.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to find that angle for the Black Hole. Even with BKB, Warlock kind of deals with it. And I found it funny they go back for the mid 1 Monkey King. It's a special of his, sure. He's picking it into the Mars. We've seen mid 1 have to play against Marses before. And the arena, sometimes you just know where he is. Instantly plop, drop the trees, and he's just dead. So it's a bit risky here for SMG.
Now that we do know all the lanes on both SMG and Fnatic, you've had the input of Mike and John. Where do you guys want to put your prediction? Which team for Aaron Gods?
Well, this is going to be a Monkey King versus a Viper. Yeah, all their lanes suck, so I think SMG is going to lose this game.
All right, so you're all in Fnatic.
Yeah.
I got to know which way Mike's going. Mike, you got to help me out here.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm going Fnatic's way. Fnatic's way 100%.
Sign me up on Fnatic too.
All right, we'll see if Michael's prediction works out again as they do jump into game 1.
Thank you very much, Nat. As you heard, Jonathan, I mean, all the panelists, they finally understand. You just go with Michael's prediction. You can't go wrong. And very, very good to see they've fallen in line and followed me, Jonathan. I've never been wrong. Always 100% success rate. We know this, John. Literally never wrong.
I'm sure, Mike. I'm sure. I'll just pretend I don't know any other time you were ever wrong. It never happened. Not on record.
Not once.
No, just never has. I would want to say there. SMG, their lineup, it does have some team fight, right? Like Black Holes are sure, but at the least you have Wukongs, right? Maybe down the line you get something like Kotl Ags if Moon manages to farm up. Then you've got the Wukong's Will-O-Wisp combination. You've got a bunch of circles to throw out in the middle of the fights. To get to that point is pretty tough. Like the lane matchups just don't feel great. I mean, you have comfort heroes coming in, especially mid 1's Monkey, but it just doesn't feel like an easy game for it, Mike. Like he's up against the offlane Viper, maybe wanting to have that Mars matchup because you can just kind of twack away, build up some Jingu. Not the case with a Viper. You just get spit on and can't do much. I'm keen to see how SMG runs this lineup. It's very different from what we've seen from other teams, but that tends to be what SMG does go for sometimes.
Yeah. Kind of funny as well, right? Because if you look at the start of the draft, it's kind of reactionary almost to Fnatic because you'll see Moon take the Coddle. And I realize Moon was like probably the first guy to run mid Coddle when it first got that balance change. But between him and Armel, there's probably going to be a fight every single draft over this mid Coddle to come out. And it does incite a bit more confidence in me knowing they have that mid Coddle of Moon because I think Moon is arguably one of the best mid Coddle players. Especially in the SEA region, you'd have to put him in maybe second, maybe first even, depending on the game. But it does feel somewhat reactionary against Fnatic, right? Because you don't want to give it to Armel either.
Yeah, you don't want to have to deal with Armel's Coddle. We've seen that win multiple times. I think just going into mid Coddle yourself can leave you vulnerable. I mean, again, as you said, the draft was a bit reactive. Still, take a look at the lanes coming out here. Afu, of course, up top playing that pause 5 Enigma along with mid 1 on the Monkey, laning up against Jabs and DJ on the Viper and Shadow Shaman. Not an easy lane. The Jays, yeah, I just kind of blanked out. Todd the Jay, thought of John well because of his interview. Always
gonna
memorable
mullet.
talking to him every week. True, fair enough. I still can't see too well. No, I can't see. I'm just used to being blind, and that lane's still tough for mid one, right? Like you've got some good lane shoving you can get with Afu. Denying the range creep is nice. Your wave clear on Viper isn't amazing until maybe Nether Toxin is up. But it's still not a manageable lane for mid one. Like once you hit level 2, level 3 into Viper, the harassment comes in, the threat of shackles comes through, and you can't really do much to stop that harassment. Like look at DJ's position, cutting off Afu, preventing any sort of trades, and just ensuring Jabs can constantly hit mid one and clear out the creep wave on his own.
Yeah, it seems the one saving grace in the top lane is the fact that you are going to be able to get an XP advantage as mid one and Afu, because mid one's always going to have solo XP thanks to Afu, and of course you're always going to deny the range creep with the Eidolons being spawned up, but that's the real positive here for SMG in this top lane. I do agree with you though, when Jabs hits level 3, you're kind of just screwed as mid one. Let's have a look at the other lanes though while we have a chance. Of course, over in mid lane, Moon going to be against Armel. We kind of already went over this, Jonathan, but is there any, in fact, hold that thought, because Parlay Die was dropping rather low across the map. But back to the mid lane, is there anything we need to keep an eye out on here between these two?
It's pretty farmy. I mean, Moon has great wave clear, Armel has as well. You don't really have a big threat for spear setups onto the Kotl, but if you do find that opportunity, it should be pretty easy to melt him. Both sides are just going to be pretty satisfied just finding farm, though. You are seeing Armel kind of pull ahead. He is going to need much stronger rune control in comparison to the Kotl. You know, no mana sustain for that Mars, but beyond that, as long as you hold out, get the build-up you need on the Mars, it does feel like his level 6 is maybe a bit scarier. You have bigger kill threat onto the Kotl in comparison to that spirit form, and as mentioned before, you know, you might see them kind of clumping around mid, trying to get something out once that timing's set up, but for now, just kind of farming here.
Bot lane is going to be able to survive. Parlay Die at level 2 doesn't really have the damage with the battery assault to take down the Warlock. As bot lane as well, like you've got Raging and Parlay Die here. Shouldn't be too tough of a lane for Raven against the Necrophos, but it is going to be arguably one of those kind of even trading lanes between the two cores. And of course, if you're Januel on this Warlock, your only job is really to just keep Raven healthy. Just keep shadow wording, maybe throw a Fatal Bonds here and there, but chances are they aren't going to try too hard to try and kill off Raging Potato here. And of course, even if they do, Parlay Die should be around the corner to help out if necessary. And as I say that, John, they are going to get aggressive now. But it's just a bit of harassment. They just want to make sure Raging doesn't get too cocky here in this bot lane.
Yeah, you do have decent kill threat out from Fnatic. Like when you Fatal Bonds up the wave, if you catch Necrophos a bit too close, the spin on top of the spread damage is significant. So Raging is going to have the safest time. You have some really good clear as well. And yeah, there you go. Just the damage output from the spin. Not much a Necrophos can do, and not much a Clockwork can do to relieve that pressure either.
Well, the beauty is as well, he had the Fatal Bonds on, so he let the creep wave follow him with the Necrophos, and the spin damage was doing even more damage to the Necro, because he had the whole creep wave just being spun on as well. It's a nice little combination you can run between these two in the laning stage, and well, for Raging Potato, to be fair, he won't have the greatest way out, because Ghost Shroud obviously isn't going to help if he gets spun on. Of course, Omni Slash a bit of a different story here, but for now, we'll see what Raging does do to try and even out the lane as looking back up at top. This is where things start to get very hard for mid one now. Jab's almost level 4, but he's got that level 2 poison attack, and well, now the lane, it starts to really just feel impossible here, John. There's mid one. He's got 16 CS, and he's going to try his best to keep up, but you can't really blame the guy if he can't get close to the creep wave.
Yeah, he just can't. There's the threat of the Ether Shock, threat of the Shackles to allow more right-click through. Again, not much a Pons 5 Enigma can do here besides really just demonic conversion. And you're kind of happy with that. You're just kind of winning out the lane. You heard the panel say, you know, you just win out your lanes. And Fnatic as well, knowing that, just get that early start. They're finding it. The one thing right now for SMG, though, is that you are seeing Moon kind of self-stack here pretty nicely. A few nice big stacks in his top jungle. He does have a lot of farm to play with. So,
Oh, very close there, John. You see DJ, he was running through that tree line. He's looking for the shackles out on mid one. And that's the constant fear as they go on Arfu instead, but the Boundless Strike is going to save. Now Jab's going to be chased down a little bit. It's going to be just fine to walk away, even with the Malefice being committed. And it's the one real fear. Like, you cop that shackle. Yeah, sure, Arfu can cancel, but that's if he's around to do so.
Yeah, man.
In fact, Arfu, No, he's going to be all right. DJ's not going to go for the shackle. Oh, in fact, he will. Maybe a bit of harassment to come out here between himself and Jabs. It won't be a kill, though.
Yep, they just want to keep them low, want them to keep investing in regen, make this lane very uncomfy for the side of SMG, and it is. It's just not a good time for mid one. He is building into the battle fury here as well, Mike. We've seen this a lot from mid one. Once he has that, he can recover pretty damn fast, but until that point, it just feels like your Monkey King is not going to be a factor. You're not going to expect a threat. By the time Wukong's is up, it just will sit back and farm, maybe take that top jungle a little bit away from Moon. Should line up when Moon's ready to go anyway. The one good thing for mid one is that he has the full perseverance, so he's pretty safe.
Bot lane, nice arena by Armel. That'll be first blood drawn already as the Mars does make his way down bottom. John, I said already, we are 6.5 minutes in, but a very nice rotation from Armel. He just gets it done.
Yep. First blood as well. I mean, it's been a really even start, at least, and not looking for kill opportunities, just focusing in on that farm. Armel picking up that first kill. Gonna have pretty decent timing onto the blink. Again, it's been managing his mid lane well. You are seeing Moon kind of pull ahead, but that's because he's dipped into the jungle to clear out his stacks. And he isn't being contested. So that is some bit of good news for SMG. The timings for Moon are still gonna line up. Still gonna be able to hit that travels timing along with the Urn. Be a nuisance around the map, have the levels to back that up. But we need to see them play around that tempo soon, because if you allow Fnatic this kind of nice even start, it just feels like they'll build up off this foundation really fast.
Pile die? Raven, he's just going to go straight for an Omni. He has the spin straight after, and Pile die should just be dead here. And eventually Will is raging. Well, he has Reaper Scythe up, so he'll go for a bit of a chaser onto Raven, but the hill's going to be there in time. No, Raven, he's still going to drop just barely. I guess the Death Pulse reached in time. Meanwhile, top lane, Arfu is going to go down to DJ. But still, SMG, it's still a great kill onto the Jug.
Yeah, that's something they needed. Raging needed to find a way to just get something out from his lane. That kill kind of helps him bounce back up. He's working onto his Hood of Defiance, allows him to sit through a little bit of that spin coming out on Fnatic's end and kind of deal with the damage Raven is doing early on. They are still lining up for him, though. TP down, no Omni, no threat, and Raging is just going to go back to farming up, but I mean, you are seeing that slight build-up for SMG. It's not a massive amount. I mean, it still feels like you need a little bit more on your Necrophos. Maybe, again, Hood of Defiance timing lines up with your Kotl Travels, which is already up for Moon. Should expect some activity to start pouring out soon, and you really want to see that for SMG.
Absolutely. You got to give it to Raging Potato. I mean, he's one of the most consistent, if not the most consistent player here on the side of SMG, and always really puts on a performance here from the off lane, that's for sure. Not a very easy task for the Necro to just burst down a Jug as across the map, Pile die. Gonna get caught with his pants down and does get taken out by Armel. Another nice pickup for Armel, and John, he still has Arena up. Moon, he's gonna try and get aggressive here on the DJ. It's a lot of damage being dealt as Moon's gonna keep trying, and eventually we'll have the damage out on the Keeper. And now Moon, he'll get a bit of a trade going for himself.
That's exactly what you want to see from that Kotl. Start to use that Solar Bind, pick off the softer targets and build up. And Jabs is exposed up top all by himself.
Oh, but around the bot lane, Jonathan, they've got Raging and Jabs going across the map as Raging Potato. Can he get himself out? He'll go Shroud and try to run as Pile die. He's going to sacrifice himself for this, but it actually seems like he'll survive. Raging barely getting out with his life intact. And I believe that was really just thanks to the Hood of Defiance he has, John. Blocking out so much of that magic damage.
Again, just off the back of that kill he had earlier on Raven, allows him to pick up a slightly better timing on his Hood of Defiance and just survive through that onslaught. Right now, Fnatic's output is mainly magic damage. Your right click on the Jug isn't particularly high, so that added protection does play a big part. You are seeing Fnatic kind of clump up top. They don't want to give away this tier 1, but it's falling pretty quick here.
Well, they're trying. TP's coming in, though. Raven even going to join here as Arfu, going to be left behind on the Enigma, but that's not really the kill you want with all these rotations. They'll even deny the tier 1 top tower off, but SMG, I'd call that a pretty decent win for them. They only lose the POS 5 Enigma, rather the POS 4 Enigma, but you get my point here, John. They're going to try for a bit more. Mid 1 is hanging around on the Monkey King, but it's going to be rather hard to catch him in that tree line.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
it's
attack.
going to be hard to isolate him right now. You don't have mobility just yet on Armel. Mars is just kind of sticking to mid, getting what farm you can. Maybe hooking up top. They'd want to even out that push, get the objective themselves. There's ample enough time for SMG to kind of go for a defense here.
They're going to try. Mid one, he'll jump in. Viper Strike is there, but he got the Wukong's command off. Mid one, you're dropping a little bit too low, sir. He's just going to go down. Raven, he's fine. He caught the Reaper's sight, but it doesn't matter. Jabs will lose his life, but now you've lost even more from SMG. You know, John, I was listening to the interview, and I realized SMG love playing this super high aggression style of Dota, but there's a time and a place, and you jump into a Viper with a Wukong's command like that, it's not going to work in your favor.
Radiant's middle tower
He's
is under
just
attack.
not durable enough here on mid one, and he's still trying to finish up the Battle Fury. Nothing else in his inventory, just a couple of branches, Quelling Blade straight into Battle Fury, so he has no stats to really back that up. They could maybe try an Armel. He's pretty slow, doesn't have mana here.
Nice hook shot from Twilight Die. Armel will still be a very valuable pick.
Wow.
Can they use Black Hole? For what?
Yeah. Just to secure the kill, I guess. To make sure nothing slips by him. I mean, it's a massive
Radiant's bottom
cooldown.
tower
Yeah,
is
you know,
under attack.
the golem's down as well, so you maybe had a better opportunity to drop that big black hole onto a much more bigger team fight. But maybe SMG feels like, you know, we'll just take what we can get, keep building up, ensure that there's no shenanigans coming through from Fnatic, and just kind of go from there. The side of Fnatic, though, 8-5, 2K lead standing for SMG, mainly off the back of Moon, which is to be expected on his Coddle. I don't think Fnatic's in too rough of a spot, though. You're getting some stable farm for Raven, and mid one is still going to have to take some time even after the Battle Fury is done to catch up.
Radiant's middle
But
tower has
SMG
fallen.
are finding the objectives. Mid-tier 1 faults now, and just the push you're getting from that Coddle and the Eidolons from Afu does allow this to happen
Radiant's
relatively
bottom
quick.
tower has
Even the
fallen.
bot faults with no defense, so a lot of
Jabs.
early objectives for SMG.
In the top lane, Moon, he started rotating quite a lot here on the Coddle and will secure another kill. And, well, John, again, this is a Moon keeper of the line. He is very, very strong on this mid-hero, and he'll find his 5th kill of the game 12.5 minutes in. Meanwhile, across the map, Afu going to drop again as DJ. Able to set up for a nice kill on his own terms as a shaman, but again, I think the saving grace right now for SMG is going to be that mid-Coddle. Moon, it feels like he's in a
Radiant's
position
bottom tower
where he needs
is
to
under
carry this
attack.
game.
Dire's middle
And he's got the
tower
tools
is
to do
under
so.
attack.
Get number 1 in net for it, a good amount of gold above any other core from either side. Fnatic go get a good read, right? They get that kill down mid. They know there's no Enigma, no Eidolon to scout around, so they just go straight into Roche. They've got the wards. Doesn't take too long with the wards drop. And finding that early Roshan can help Fnatic maybe look to be a bit more aggressive. They could hand that off onto Armel. He's already got the blink up. He can just easily blink Arena without worrying too much. There's ample enough time for Fnatic to back him up on the secondary life. And SMG has no vision in the area. Again, they didn't have Afu around. He died in that mid lane. Didn't manage to scout out. So you managed to get a nice clean objective here on Fnatic's end. Pilot not even getting the flare out either. So they're still finding some tools to play with on Fnatic's end, but the early lead SMG has, it's starting to feel a little bit oppressive, Mike. Again, no tier 1 towers standing for Fnatic. They're bottom jungle overtaken by the side of SMG, and they're starting to enable mid 1 to farm up. The Battle Fury's up, he's still behind, but it's not going to be long until he's starting to really, catch up and eclipse everyone in that word if he's just allowed to free farm like this.
I mean, to be fair, John, he doesn't really have any boots going, but I suppose it is, probably the way to play this one for mid one, just understanding the fact that you are very far behind and you've got to kind of skip the movement speed here and just try to ignore everybody else on the map. Problem is, DJ, bot lane is setting up, but doesn't have anything like a blink to try and jump in. A smoke rotation is out, however, and Armel not going to find the Monkey King as mid one. He's going for the large camp. Armel almost finding him. A spear is going to land. Armel right on the edge as Pilot Die is going to miss the hook shot. They'll keep trying to rush him. Moon's here on that keeper. They'll go after Armel, but Januel's right behind him to help out with the golem if necessary, though Armel is dropping very low on that Mars and is going to go down for the first time. Meanwhile, on the left side, they've caught another. It's going to be Raging Potato, but Armel, he's the one in danger. He'll drop the arena. Pilot Die still going. They've got the Monkey King locked down, but it's not enough yet. Armel, he's going to go down as Raging Potato somehow survives the onslaught of Fnatic and SMG. They win out the team fight.
I'm a bit surprised with Fnatic's positioning there. They hold on to the high ground of their jungle. They don't collapse onto the Mars, and the Aegis just doesn't do much. They even drop the golem there from John Uel. Doesn't really reach into that arena. And they lose a pretty big team fight tool. Now you've got Black Hole without worrying about the golem drop and counter response, and that gives SMG even more room to play with. Again, just taking that bot jungle, getting the build up they want on mid one, running around, being aggressive with Moon. It might have been a little bit slower in the laning start here, Mike, but SMG, it's looking like they're picking up in their playstyle here.
Again, I really do think it's just off the back of Moon here on that keeper. Like, every time he shows up, you've just got to be so afraid prior to those BKBs coming out on Fnatic, and well, even if you've got to carry Jug, it's just still not going to be safe. Just seen so many times Raven unable to get in to really force the fight properly, and
nothing will stand in my way.
Well, again, this Coddle 5-0-1 is Moon right now, and really does end up saving the day when they pick this mid hero for him. Is bot lane now, rotations coming in, Jabs misses the hook shot, or at least Parlay Die does, and Jabs should eventually just get out, and will do so. Off the mark there by Parlay Die, but to be fair to him, John, he was going in blind.
Yeah, just trying to guess, maybe using some of that forward vision they had from their ward to guess where Jabs would stop. Not the biggest loss in the world. They can just line up for a bit of a push here. They've got the creep wave shoved in pretty hard. They know the Viper can't come in, and Fnatic's already tried to force a fight in that area before. I know if you just want to play slow, fine, we'll take your objectives. They lose their top, but in exchange for getting a bit of pressure on the bot, it's going to be worthwhile, and SMG still has this good flank from bot into their own jungle that they could try to take to force some aggression.
They're going to try and force some aggression right now underneath their own observer ward. Raging, going to move in. Yule Scepter is there. Lock him down on that Shaman, and eventually the Reaper Scythe is going to come out from Raging Potato. Another stack of regen for him on the Necro, and they smoke up immediately. They've got to blink up on Arfu here, John. Could be a massive team fight for SMG if they can find the right black hole. With all the chaos that's been happening in these team fights, it's not going to be too challenging to find the Shaman in that black hole and lock everyone else down. Keep in mind, Golem is down for another 20 seconds as Moon. He's going very deep here. Does break the smoke, but Armel, he's on the high ground. He's barely going to avoid getting ganked up by the side of SMG. But I love the aggression this time around from SMG. They leave the Monkey King, let him farm, and they do a 4 protect 1. Still show up in the mid lane now. Raven, hookshot is there. Parlay Die going to find Armel immediately. They'll drop the arena to try and defend themselves. And for now, it's working out. They have not caught anyone else yet. Armel, though, being slowed up as Arfu. Going to go for a Malefice. Not bothering with the black hole yet, but they've got the Illuminate. Moon able to snipe Armel once again. Another great fight here for SMG.
Yeah, they're just hitting their stride. They know they can just keep running and gunning at Fnatic. Fnatic still wanting to get some build-up. Needs more items up in Raven. They need some of these initial BKBs to come out in their other cores as well. We're seeing Jabs and Armel kind of queuing it up, both at the same point, still lacking 2 parts, lacking a lot of gold for those parts. And mid one, he's getting really comfy on a monkey. 2 parts away from his full ags, and he's just being aggressive right now.
Another black hole out from Arfu. This time around, though, it makes a lot more sense just going after the Viper from full HP. Very nice black hole from Arfu, as even in the mid lane, more aggression coming in from SMG. So they'll try to catch out DJ, but he's going to be survived by Genuol and just walk out of there. But SMG, they aren't looking to slow down, John, and again, props to them. They're 8k ahead right now. Mid lane, Raven, he's going to be caught out, but we'll go for the spin into the Golem, onto Raging Potato, but he's a tanky target in the spear. It is not going to land. Armel, he's in trouble again. The Reaper Scythe just going to lock him down and take him out. SMG, they just keep going. Highlight Die. He's going to drop to the Omni, but they keep going in. Moon, who are we aiming for? He'll try for DJ, but now the Serpent Wards, they have been dropped. Arfu is going to try and back him up, but Jabs will get to work. Still the TP out. It's not going to make it in time. It won't matter, though. As long as they get their cores out of here, they'll be happy. And speaking of those cores, John, they're going right back in. But SMG, you'd still have to argue that's a win for them. Taking down the mid-Mars once again. And this is all without mid-1.
They're just making it work. Mid one doesn't need to really commit too much in these fights. Just having him give some tree dance vision, having him drop a boundless or 2 in these fights is more than enough, even without the Wukongs. And SMG off the back of this aggression now, 12 to 12, 9k lead ramping up. Moon still in a really good spot. Raging and mid one also in really strong spots. Armel and Jabs have really not have a great time from that laning phase. Like, they had good lanes coming out. They haven't been able to farm. They've been picked off way too many times. They need these BKBs here. Without those BKBs, SMG will just keep repeating what they've done. Run around, play with a Kotal, play with the vision they have with the Clockwork's hook as well, and just kind of run people down. So Fnatic going to need some time to recoup. SMG, of course, not going to be looking to give them that time as they start to hit those item timings here. Full Ags up for mid one. You're looking really bursty now, and Moon working onto that Hex next. And they are clumping up here.
They are. Armel once again the target as Moon going to try to move in. Let's get the Spirit Vessel off, but that's about it. Rocket Flare not there in time by Pylai Dai, and well, quite frankly, they were blocking the hook shot angle he had anyway. So Armel just fine to walk away, but Januel not quite. Pylai Dai able to catch him out with the hook, and Januel, it's going to be a slow and painful death. Pylai Dai, he'll happily take the kill. With that, SMG, I just don't see a reason for them to slow down. 11k ahead. Mid one is second in net worth only to Moon right now. It's a great game so far, and they've just got to keep up the aggression.
Yeah, just keep playing to that tempo, keep punishing Fnatic while some spell immunity isn't up yet, and just run around with the high damage output of Moon. He's done a fantastic job. He had a great time in mid, just farming up. No one came in from Fnatic's end to slow him down. You're much more focused on those side lanes. You at least have some initial BKBs up here, Mike. Jabs already having his with the disassembly on the Dragonlance, so your Viper can maybe just stand the front line a little bit more. The big one has to be Armel's. You need a Mars to be able to use that arena, get a little bit more damage out there, get a good spear connection, and it's just been tough without that BKB. So more time necessary for Fnatic as SMG just control most of the map. Like, they're playing in the triangle, they've been playing in that bot jungle as well, they've got their own jungle in their control. They can play to their own tempo. They're going to have a BKB on mid one soon, that sheep stick from Moon as well that we mentioned a while ago, and even Raging almost done with a full Lotus Orb. So a lot of protective items, a lot of good timings for SMG. Fnatic though are clumped up for a bit of a smoke play. They've got the Golem drop ready if they find a good angle here.
That they are. Arcane Rune picked up to make matters worse here for Fnatic. Mind you, Fnatic, they might find Arfu here on the Enigma as well, so there is a bit of a split situation going on across the map, but Arfu, he's going to be able to blink out, so SMG, now realizing that Fnatic are in the triangle of the Radiant side, are going to move their way in. The question is, how do you initiate? You want Pylai Dai with a great hookshot, and they're going to find Raven. They might have a chance to just completely blow him up, as the Cox pushback is there, the Reaper Scythe, and they got everything. Raven just getting completely annihilated here by Raging Potato. They'll find Genuel, but they want DJ. They'll get the Yule Scepter off, and they'll find everybody else. Fnatic, they're shackling, but it's not going to help so much. It's Raging Potato with a triple kill out on the Necrophos. Doing a fantastic job here for SMG. Once again, Fnatic, they're the ones who don't seem to be able to fight back.
They just can't. Like, they need to wait for Armel. He's not joining in right now. He just wants to farm that full BKB, and it is going to be up in the maybe 40 gold here, but you've allowed SMG to just take over this map. You have to deal with this Monkey King now, who is going to have spell immunity. They see the opportunity to Roshan here in SMG's end. There is the Golem threat from Fnatic, but it's a long way to walk, and they're just not set up for a fight. There's the threat of Black Hole still looming from Afu. That's going to be a secondary life along with the shards going away of SMG. 2 lives in mid one's going to be massive. Allows them to just jump in or even just frontline a little bit more in that Monkey King. And it just doesn't feel like Fnatic has any way of playing into that Wukong's yet. Again, they're going to need some BKBs up. You do have Armel, so they will smoke now, but they're smoking right into that Aegis.
It's rough, and don't forget, mid one has joined for this team fight. Boundless strike out. Jabs already being caught out, but the hook shot does not land. Still the Wukongs and the Cogs locking him down, so Jabs, the BKB does nothing. They do find Arfu on the Enigma, but SMG, they might just call it quits here, or maybe not. Armel, he's going to be slowed up by the Solar Bind in mid one. He's going to make the jump in, but there's your BKB out, and now the Golem drop into the Fatal Bonds and the Omni Slash. Going to go right through mid one. He's still alive, though. It's not changed onto the Necrophos instead. Raven, he's going to keep going. They've almost got that Aegis down mid one. In big trouble. He's going to drop to the first line. SMG, without the hook shot of the Clockwork, don't have another great wave setting up. DJ, he'll have to turn and try to fight back against Raging. But Moon will be able to take him down on the Keeper. 8-0-6 on that Keeper of the Light now is Moon. To SMG, they lose the Aegis. Fnatic, they show us a moment of brilliance, but it's still nowhere near good enough.
I think they need a lot cleaner of a fight. They had to use the Golem drop. No big AoE control coming out from Fnatic for quite some time. And that'll leave Afu, again, free to look for the angle for Black Hole. Mid one, sure. He dies. He still has his BKB unused. You can still try to come in and force a fight out, and they're still clumped up here on SMG to be aggressive. Looking for that mid tier 2. Arena is ready from Armel, but the BKB's down for a little bit longer here.
You got to sight the vice on Moon now as well, John. He's got the Hex up. This is a very scary fight to try and take here against SMG. They'll have to let the tier 2 mid tower go and hope for a high ground defense to come if SMG overextend. Hookshot is there. Pilot die. He's caught out Genuel on the Warlock. He doesn't have the Golem anyway, but he tries to run his way out. It's just not going to be enough. Genuel goes down, and SMG, they might have a shot at this high ground now.
They've got the damage output with mid one. They've got the threat of Black Hole. They've got the single target Bristol on hand. And Fnatic, it's so difficult for them to find the angle. They just can't reach out and jump in.
Oh no, he's going to jump in. Mid one, he's the target, but he finds a great Black Hole. It's going to be cancelled off anyway. He's still alive though. Jabs, he's going to cop the Reapers. SMG, thanks to the Black Hole just temporarily being used up, will be able to survive the onslaught of Fnatic. And in they go once again, though. Armel with a great spear back into the tier 4 tower. Into the shackles, they've got mid one. On the Monkey King. Raven, can he get the damage out? It doesn't seem like it. He doesn't have the Omni, and now Moon comes in. Raging, he's got a double. Moon just blasts them away with the blinding light. And SMG, they'll walk out scot-free here. Nothing to take him down. Zafu's going to try for more. Chasing down Genuel, but won't catch him. Still Fnatic, they can't fight this. They might just be 2 Raxes down now.
Yeah, just big wins from SMG. To sustain coming through from Moon is just way too big. If you don't catch this guy in arena, he'll be able to keep his entire team alive. It's just, you don't have that burst on Fnatic to deal with someone on that instant stun. You need some time to build that damage up, especially the Jug without Omni. And SMG take some nice clean objectives. Not going to find that mid-range racks, but put themselves in a very strong position. Top tier 2 still stands. Probably the next objective to play for safely. 13-22 in SMG's way. And we all talked about this, Mike, the panel included. Like, you know, SMG's draft looked a bit wonky. We expected Fnatic's lanes to come out stronger, but SMG hold out. Hold out through a maybe a bit slower laning start, and they're looking good right now, Mike.
Oh, I didn't hear anyone. Oh, I didn't say that, John. I think the panel certainly did. You and I, though, we always knew SMG had this in the bag. By the way, they've been playing. See, a great draft here from SMG. As you and I both said earlier on. So, yeah, right now I do agree with you. I mean, all jokes aside, we did doubt them very, very hard with this draft, but they are executing really well, especially after that laning stage. But, John, I might just add again. I mean, Moon and Raging Potato, they've just played this perfectly. Like, that mid and pos 3, it's really set themselves up. Mid one had no farm after that Viper lane. Literally nothing. But Moon and Raging, they just kind of put the team on their back and just get it done.
Top tower is under attack.
They know the early spikes of these heroes. They know they have a strong combination with Solar Bind and along with the Death Seeker that we saw Raging Potato pick up very early on. SMG going for that top tier 2. No outer towers left for Fnatic and be stuck trying to play the high ground defense. Now, as long as you have the Golem and Arena up, you can take these high ground fights fairly well, but they have to time their spell use and catch some key heroes out. They need to find a way to catch Moon, but he's just way too far back there.
Well, they've got Pilot Die to start. Spears off the mark, though, from Armel into mid one, and now with the blinding light being knocked back, Armel's in big trouble, but they won't move in completely. SMG, they've had a few issues in the past with these high ground attempts, so they are going to play this a lot more carefully. And I can appreciate that, John, because you and I were there for one of those. It's SMG. Nice slow game here from themselves. At least for the high ground as they do move in once again. Not overextending as Parlay Die does go in for the hook shot into Armel with the Reaper Scythe. Armel is just not going to be able to survive. He will buy back. As Parlay Die does drop at SMG. They back off, they reset, and they might just move back in. Here we go again. Armel, he'll drop the arena. Onto Raging Potato and the Golem drop and the Fatal Bonds as well, but Raging, he is just so tanky. And with the Wind Waker, he just flies right out of the arena. Zafu jumps in after jabs, he's got the Viper locked down and eventually just takes him out. Great plays from SMG so far. They'll move in again, DJ being slowed up. Omni on the Ghost Shrouded Necrophos as it bounces around, but it does no damage. They'll call it GG. SMG coming back with a vengeance. And Jonathan, the original CEO himself, yours truly, Mr. Moon. I've got to say, John, he really just carried this game. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, he played spectacularly well, raging as well on this lane, as you pointed out. These two guys play a phenomenal game on the course. I think the supports did a great job here as well. The patience from Afu to look for those angles and some of those black holes. And Pilot died with his hook shots. Like, he was a big part of why Fnatic couldn't find an angle in. He'd spot the backline, he'd prevent the blinks from Armel. They could just never reach onto Moon, and even if they did manage to get that big arena down mid, they didn't catch Moon. He was outside. He was still blasting away, getting some heals off, getting some good damage. And for Fnatic, it just feels like they couldn't match that pace from SMG. The aggression was there from SMG. It took us a while to see First Blood. That did go Fnatic's way at the 6.5 minute mark. But, you know, once they got that initial farm on Moon, they just kept running. And even Raging, maybe a bit slower with that, you know, earlier threat of Spin and Fatal Bonds, didn't really keep going that way for Fnatic, though. They didn't really manage to run down that Necros as much as we'd expect, and that just gave them enough room to get those initial items and get their power spike to them.
Yeah, I mean, Moon finished off 8-0-14 and Raging Potato 11-2-9. It's just a spectacular performance here once again from the 2 and 3, but we are going to head off to a very short break. And of course, right after that break, we'll be back with our beautiful panel for game number 2's draft.
This is so sick.
Can we just go back to playing games now?
Now I feel so stupid. Don't you feel that too? The feeling lingers on every day of every month. Wishing I just could forget about you. The weight upon my bones makes it harder to move on. Oh baby, don't think that I'll ever forgive myself for losing you, or for losing you. Left our love up on those dusty shelves. Can't forgive myself. my veins. You know. Somewhere in the distance, the sun's coming up. Everything is blurry, the trees flashing by my side. My side, we're far ahead. The horizon never seems so close. The sky is red. We're not out of the woods yet, you know. Don't stop. In your eyes, I see a fire lighting up as we're getting away. There's no going back, and I'm loving the chase. Where you go, I follow. We're not giving up, never hitting the brakes. There's no going back, and I'm loving the chase.
Despite SMG looking to not have the advantage coming out of draft, they did end up playing an incredible game of Dota, and they take it. They take game one against Fnatic. So far, your prophecy is coming true, gods, that you said SMG can pull out something.
Fnatic got to win 2 games.
Yeah. So now Fnatic have to bounce back and win the next 2 games.
I got to say now, I'm disappointed.
What?
Mike said Fnatic were going to win.
I know. Look.
I'm disappointed.
Mike can only predict so much before the caster curse kicks in, you know? We all went in on Fnatic, and that was our ultimate downfall there. We all bandwagoned a little bit too hard. But SMG really showed up. You can see here they had this 15k gold lead at 25 minutes. But, I mean, to get 15k at 25 minutes, you have to be doing something pretty good in the laning phase, Fia.
This is true.
This is true.
Yeah, no, I expected Fnatic to do a lot better in their laning stage. And SMG, you know, mid one did small things, like he didn't buy out entirely at level 1, so he saved like 300 gold, got that early ring of health, helped him survive a bit in the lane against the Viper. And over time, like, I expected Viper to really take over that lane, but he never really did. He ended up dying, and same thing goes for the offlane. I thought with one rotation, this Necro would just like feed, and yeah, he did die to first blood to Armel going down there, but I thought there was going to be like more of that, and he'd get spin on and he would just die, but that was his one death. And then from there, like the mid lane, the Coddle, he had like, what is it, 106 CS at 9 minutes or something, with some quad stacked on the big camp.
It was insane. It was absolutely insane just how much CS Moon had.
Yeah, it's absolutely like just insane by SMG that they could weather these lanes, because I was really afraid that both of their lanes would get super dumpstered on the side lanes, but they didn't. They played the lanes incredibly well, and outside of that, they just kept things together, farmed, and made pickoffs.
Yeah. Did you like their aggression, Gods? Are you surprised that it went unpunished by Fnatic, just how, I guess, aggressive and pickoff they were playing?
Felt a bit more controlled and calculated than sometimes. Like, you know, even like the early lead they got, I was very much like, okay, you know, we've seen SMG here before. You know, they prone to throwing the occasional game here or there, but it was kind of this balanced aggression. Like mid one was just rushing a straight up Battle Fury, no boots, into Aghanims, like didn't even prioritize BKB. So they balanced it out with like some late game assurances. And I think it was also aggression around the item timings, particularly the boots of travel on Coddle was where we just started seeing Moon like TP to a lane to just gank with Illuminate. And honestly, like Moon was really the standout for me with how active his Coddle got. Once he got even just boots of travel plus earn, he was all over the place. So just
with how farmed he was, he got like Vessel and Travels by 11 minutes.
Yeah. That's phenomenal.
It was a pretty free Coddle game. And then, yeah, I mean, you've got a Jug on the other side, but Jug just can't keep up and farm. Doesn't matter that you're not as afraid of Coddle. Because you've got the Blade Fury, just felt like there were plenty of other places that Coddle could go. And particularly the lane you mentioned where like the Viper's meant to take over top, but just felt with how fast Coddle came online, like the first place he went was that top lane to kill Jab. So
yeah, he had a very successful mid on SMG, and you know, Armel, unfortunately, on the Mars just didn't really have a good game. He ended up going 4 and 6. There were a lot of moments where he felt like he was being either caught out or maybe his team wasn't really kind of in the, you know, it's a give and take. Team wasn't in the right place. He wasn't in the right place. But it begs the question of Fnatic synergy, right? Did their lineup have the synergy that could have given them the opening? And if it did, why wasn't it playing it out that way for Fnatic.
I think they had a really well-rounded lineup, to be honest with you. Most of Armel's deaths you saw are just on the back of this Coddle, right? You just get slowed, vesseled, just over and over again. He was in the same spot, in the same situation. I think the one good thing that Fnatic had going for them was they did the Roche pretty early on. It was like 13 minutes, but it was the same thing. They didn't really group up with it. It's not the Fnatic I saw where they're really disciplined and like took team fights together. He got the Aegis, he got caught out of position and died twice with it, and that was, you know, supposed to be their comeback mechanic. The reason why they picked the Shadow Shaman so much on Radiant. So this Fnatic looked a little discombobulated, compared to what I'm used to seeing.
I'm curious what you think. Like, with the mid call seemed to be like the biggest problem in this game. Like,
first big hero too. Huh?
Yeah. What do you want to be playing? Like, what's the problem with their draft or with the way they played? Like, how do you stop Coddle doing what we just saw? I guess. Do you think
we saw Boom do it? They just picked the Ember with the Mirana and they just killed him over and over again. But
Ember was, I don't know if it was banned first too, but it was banned very early. It was either first phase or second phase banned.
I mean, blocking his camps is always a good start too, like putting sentries in them. He's just going to farm. So.
Is there a reason why you feel we don't see those camps being blocked anymore? I feel like out of the past few games, I haven't really seen it.
I think it's just like who and when do you block? Because I guess I assume minute one, like everyone, like you build a wall around your mid lane kind of to stop anyone coming into your jungle. So unless you like sneak in with a smoke or something, it's maybe hard.
Yeah.
But
well, you know, there's ways to deal with the Coddle. If SMG get their hand on it again, hopefully Fnatic have learnt something from this game. If they haven't yet, then they do have a little bit of time because we're going to head to a break. When we're back, it will be game 2 and we'll see how it unravels.
You and I, we never show emotions, we just keep it down, down inside. Yeah, you and I, both longing for expression for the things we like, but we stay quiet. Hold me now, tell me things, tell me all about how you feel. Just let yourself go. Say it loud, wake the world on the other side, make it real. Just let yourself go, just let go. Ooh, just let go. Oh yeah, just let go. Ooh, just let go.
We have a lot of action happening right now between this Fnatic and SMG matchup. You guys aren't seeing it correctly. SMG did take game number 1. And if that didn't get you guys excited for game number 2, and maybe you need a little bit of wake up, then our partner, Mate, can help with that. They are caffeine reimagined for more day, more night. You guys can get 30% off using the code BTSDOTA, or you can head over to bts.gg/matemate for more information. Some free shipping out there as well for select regions, countries, whatever terminology you'd like to use. But we can go back to the white shot now and include gods in this. Hey, what's up?
Yeah, he's there.
Hey.
Yeah, hey, he's still here. Don't
Very
worry.
fitting. And more day, more night is exactly, you know, with our overnight schedule, what we're often needing.
It definitely is. Chugging a can off camera.
Yep.
Savoring every last drop. I don't know. Why am I turning?
Chugging and savoring don't really go together.
Why am I even turning into you? Why am I trying to like describe things in like certain delicious, mouth-watering? They will always be forever burned into my brain. But this game 2 draft is here. The Coddle getting banned out, and the Monkey King actually from Fnatic.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah, ban out both of them, and they pick up the Winter Wyvern themselves. SMG, I don't think those bans have changed. The Puck Marcy, they definitely were removed last game. I don't know if it was by SMG. I can check that though. This
Yeah.
is normally where you guys jump in and say something.
Oh, I was trying to think if I could confirm or deny what you were saying, but I
I don't remember the Marcy either.
Could not.
maybe it
Marcy was first phase banned. I
Yes.
don't remember by who.
I don't remember who either, but she definitely was not in there.
Fnatic did ban the Wyvern, so they're gonna pick it before maybe SMG. Maybe they recognize this is a hero that SMG is just gonna prioritize.
Yeah.
We got some bird on bird action.
Ooh, is
Kinky.
Why? Why is it that there's always these
Slate at night.
words? Do you know what word Sheep said on the panel the other day?
Are we gonna repeat it?
Yeah.
All right.
Did you hear what she called
no.
viper pickers? She called them salacious. And she did not know the definition of the word. If anyone is watching out there, I'm going to out
She
her
just
right
like
now.
read it in chat or something.
No,
or,
she's like,
where-
I don't know. It just sounded like it fit, and she just said it, and I was
one of
like,
her animes.
Yeah. I think there's a different word for those.
Look, it's a subgenre of anime.
you know what? That's an argument I'm not going to engage in. I was right. SMG, same bands. Marcy Puck. That's what they had in game 1. That's what they have in game 2. But yeah, now I have 2 questions. One, Phoenix, is it worth being a first pick? And second pick, is Wyvern a bird? Is it bird and bird? Or is it bird and dragon?
I mean, technically it's a dragon, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but Phoenix is a
But I
bird.
always just call them birds.
It just has
Why?
wings and it's a bird.
Yeah, they. I don't know, like
It's
people.
the same
who
way you
play-
call a penguin a bird, you know? It's like, is a penguin a bird?
Yes.
Okay.
I just call
Is
them
it a
bird
bird?
players.
Yeah,
you know?
an emu is a bird, even if they're flightless. I think it's a subgenre
Flightless
of birds. Flightless birds.
What defines a bird? Having wings? Lays eggs?
Definition of bird. Let me look that one up for you.
Yeah, this is important
A
stuff here.
warm-blooded egg-laying vertebrate distinguished by the possession of feathers, wings, and a beak, and by being able to fly typically.
So Wyvern doesn't have a beak. Yeah.
no
has a
beak.
mouth.
Yeah. So not a bird.
But
Yeah, I know, but I still classify it as
yeah, in fantasy, it's like, okay, yeah, dragons are a different thing. But like, if this was a thing in, the human world, it'd be, I guess, a bird. So.
from
Subgenre.
Dota players. Like, there's a type of player out there, type of person who only plays Phoenix and Wyvern.
Right.
That's so
Okay.
true.
So you
actually.
just call them the bird
Bird
players. And it's a Dota only term.
What does Jakira fit into this?
He's
nice.
Seconds remaining.
Low impact.
No one plays him.
Yeah. See,
You
I
have to-
want
you have to think
I
about
want
him.
my ultimate to win a team fight.
Yeah.
Players.
I mean, these two heroes play very similarly. They have big team fight spells, percentage-based damage. They can have a lot of impact.
Yeah, and they like to sit back and throw their shit from far away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you play Phoenix, you probably like playing Wyvern too. And I think it was Xiaoban Bon. He's like grandmaster on both those heroes. So yep, there's a bird player.
True.
Do you like Fnatic going back for this jug?
Nope.
Oh.
All right, so I only
Perfect.
say that because last game I thought should, in theory, have been a great jug game, but not going to blame the jug entirely.
Mhm.
But the impact was it left something to be desired there.
It's definitely not enough impact for it to be first phase picked.
Yeah,
saying.
I mean it's should only get harder. I see why they picked it. It's definitely a classic,
10 seconds.
vintage pick against the Phoenix here. People would always pick this immediately when you saw the
5
Phoenix, but
seconds remaining.
Dota's not that game anymore where you're just gonna, the Phoenix is gonna drop some egg right on top of a Juggernaut, and he's gonna kill the egg. You have the option to do it, but Phoenix players are a little more intelligent nowadays.
Dire team back.
I don't know if you guys saw that one clip of Zai on Reddit. When he was playing Phoenix, he kept using his egg,
Turn to battle.
and he kept getting destroyed.
How old is this clip?
It's not that old. It's a couple of weeks. And then
Oh.
what he did was like he just went into his settings and unhotkeyed the egg. There's like 2,000 IQ way over.
That's pretty funny.
So yeah, for the most part, if you know how to play Phoenix, you're not going to be using your egg very much if it's a bad game for it. But he still has great spells. You play more around the Sunray than you play around the egg.
Okay. And so that's why you feel that they would have been putting priority on it to pick it up here.
Well, I'm just saying that's why I don't think Chug hard counters Phoenix anymore.
Dire team back.
Alright.
One hero that like I wanted to talk about a while ago, but I forgot, is Dawnbreaker. That was it. Just completely ignored in like all these games. It's insane.
Yeah, that's like
I feel like in every other region that hero was just first picked immediately.
there were a few teams like for a while, like maybe more like a week or two ago, that where it was like, okay, yeah, we should play, first phase Dawnbreaker, but teams are just like, now we're done with that.
Yeah, I feel like C is interesting to watch because they're on their own meta. Like compared to the rest of the world, I feel like they're just on their completely own island here in
do you
their
feel
own
like
meta.
it's for better or worse?
I was about to ask that.
In the past, I feel like, generally, I feel like sometimes for
See
C,
at the major.
yeah, I feel like often C's a little behind the meta,
Yeah.
and
I mean, they were playing it earlier, but they stopped playing it.
yes,
So it's like maybe they just have their own style, right?
Yeah.
That they like to play.
like they were the one region that kept playing Dusa when everyone gave up on Dusa.
And Death Prophet. Speaking of
As I was going to say, as we
Yeah.
see it picked up.
I don't mind the Death Prophet too much. We've seen this just be this great kind of tempo core to kind of build around.
It's look good, yeah.
Yeah, I hope we see it offlane. I think offlane seems to be its best role. These mid players just want to use runes and be more high impact heroes, and it seems like these offlane Death Prophets that can rush a BKB and just basically be the hero that controls all the objectives.
Yeah, I watch most all regions minus China because I'm busy, doing this. But DP is only in C right now. Very popular here in C, but I don't see any other region picking it. It's another flavor pick. That hero is very good against the DP, but very bad versus the Phoenix, and questionable versus Enchantress. So we'll see how that goes. If Enchantress can get levels, I think it's like her level 20 talent. I haven't played support in a while, but it used to be able to steal an Ancient. So you're going to steal the HOD in the early game. You do have like that incredible attack speed reduction, so it's not easy for Lycan to kill you. Phoenix, he can't hit the egg with summon units at all. Like it's really hard for him to kill the egg, and the fire spirits reduce attack speed on your summon units, so it's not a good matchup there.
You say you've been watching other regions. Does that mean are we in for a carry Enchantress? Did you see? Did you see that one?
I did.
I think everyone saw that one and maybe wish they hadn't seen it. At least definitely not twice in a row.
Yeah. It looked good until it didn't. And then you realize you're a carry that does 0 damage against magic immunity in late game. Like
That's true.
No, that's a bit of a problem. It's like the opposite. But the whole idea of a carry that right clicks is that you don't care about magic immunity. But yeah,
unless you can make up for it in your other roles, because off lane is kind of you're a hidden carry nowadays. This patch in the off lane, you like a Lycan, carry some games, but yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen this game.
Yeah,
personally speaking.
Well, we'll see where SMG lane. I mentioned I would like to see offlane Death Prophet, but Moon is always been a big Death Prophet player. So with the Bat DP, they have some flexibility between their offlane and mid here. And hey, Enchantress, a flex hero.
Why did they pick Bat though?
Yeah,
I don't understand the Bat
against
pick.
what, Wyvern, Lasso against the Jug. It seems okay. It doesn't instantly strike me as you don't know your lane matchup at this point. Unless you're playing it offlane.
I was gonna say, is it gonna be carry and goes against the Lycan? Is
Carry
it Bat or
Bat?
Lycan?
I think it's
I don't know what that.
I think it has to be mid, so you're picking Bat
DP?
blind. So from my opinion, DP's offlane versus Jug, it's good. If you get the Siphon off on the Jug, even if he spins on you, you still get the heal, right? So it's very difficult for Jug to jump you. And obviously you have a lot of like right click harass too, so that lane should just be very good for the Death Prophet in theory. The Enchantress 5 for sure, DP 4, or they could do, you know, a 4-inch if they want 5. Phoenix doesn't really matter. But then they pick the Bat Rider, which to me is like very strange, very strange. I don't know. It's not. You can argue both ways, and I think there's an argument to add for both that Bat is good versus Jug because you have the lasso through BKB. At the same time, he is magic immune, so he doesn't care that much about like the sticky napalm and like the harass.
What about the Bat into Lycan? As far as
I think Lycan's very good versus Bat.
Okay.
Like
you just overwhelm him.
Yeah, you just put your summons on him and he just dies really fast.
Runs him
Plus
down.
you're hasted, right? So the sticky doesn't affect you. So he's really going to be playing around Lasso, which is a pretty long cooldown.
Ooh.
I have not seen this versus Bat, but it actually sounds really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unlimited stick charges just to keep on nuking him.
You've got that annoying jump that slows, like it probably can't dive him. So I haven't seen this matchup, but it looks pretty cool, and I'm very interested to see how it pans out.
5 seconds.
When you're putting your hedging your bets towards the Zeus in that matchup, though.
Yeah, I mean, Bat generally is like, it's not the same Bat Rider. It's like a year or a year and a half ago where you could just put it mid and it would win every matchup. It's fairly weak in lane now, and especially if you're versus ranged heroes. Its power comes in like the mid game where you can just run around, maybe get early BKB travels and get some key lassos off. But you know, you are playing versus Wyvern in this game, and I think this, unless Wyvern gets jumped himself, like this curse will be really good against this BKB Bat running in. I like what Fnatic has going here again, but you know, SMG did outplay them the last game, so we'll see. And they've got a last pick carry here to pick.
Is it at the moment that you think Fnatic has a stronger lineup and something that is easier to execute compared to SMG? Oh,
that's my boy right there.
Yeah, it was banned last game. This time around, mid one gets his hand on Lone Druid. It must have been playing it in scrims and pubs because they had a read on it last game. So.
Yeah, the Lone Druid last pick coming out, which means Mike and John are going to be joining us. John, you get to go first because I want to express my disappointment with Mike later.
Yeah, look, SMG, they had a great time game one. This game, the draft is still pretty interesting. They go for that Lone Druid. I feel like it could be a good factor for SMG to play around. I think it's a great solution to kind of deal with a jug down the line that hits some early tempo. If we see mid one decide to play aggressive, can be done with the LD. So I think SMG has another lineup that plays into their style. For Fnatic, they go with a support Zeus for John UL, and they still run the mid Armel Winter Wyvern. They're going to have to show us if that pause 5 Zeus works for them, and I think SMG just has that aggression lined up.
I'm waiting for you to express that disappointment with me, Nat, but before you do, I'm going to make a point to counter your point that you're going to make. Okay. I didn't realize before we started that game one. I completely forgot.
I know what you're going to say.
Go on.
Is it the tweet?
It's the tweet.
I knew you were going to bring up the tweet.
This is the second time he's done this to Fnatic. I was there in Stockholm. Kyle was climbing up the stairs tweeting at the time, saying Fnatic can't lose against OG. That was a game they were 20 kills ahead. And long behold, they end up somehow throwing the game against OG, and OG goes in to win the major. I was going to kick Kyle down those stairs. I'm not going to lie. I was going to keep him right down the damn stairs. I couldn't believe it. I can't fight Kyle. I don't know what to say about these drafts. SMG, they've got the Kyle buff. I don't know what to tell you.
That's it. It's not Mike's fault, guys. He's trying his best out here. I'm going to say that you're on the side of Fnatic. I'm just going to guess for you.
No.
And, okay, your SMG and Gods is Fnatic, and I'm not going to let them talk at all. We're just going to give it straight up to Mike and John.
Thank you so much, Nat. We do go into game number 2. Jonathan, I've explained. You were there at the time as well. You saw me talking to Kyle after that tweet. At the major. He did it to him, Jonathan. He's done it again on request of Gary Onko, who asked for him to tweet about this. He's done it again to Fnatic. SMG, they've got an immeasurable buff, I think, in this series.
Yeah, I mean, it showed up in game 1 there, Mike. And again, game 2, they come out with something special. They bring out the LD for mid 1. Keen to see what he does with that hero. They've been playing on point. It's been so much more disciplined as well in game 1. I think if they just maintain that playstyle, whatever buff Kyle gave them, as long as they stay disciplined, it feels like they'll carry through, Mike. So we've got to see. I mean, they were talking on the panel, right? Fear was saying the Zeus matchup for Bat Rider, it's not be great. They end up running a pause 5 Zeus for John UL. and they give Armel the mid-Winter Wyvern anyway. So it's a Winter Wyvern versus Batrider lane, which doesn't feel too bad, but also not maybe not the most amazing for Moon either, but certainly better than the Zeus lane, where the nukes will just keep flying through. So I'm keen to see what Armel can show on the Winter Wyvern, right? Like, he's just taking a Moon hero away, showing it down mid. Whether or not he can keep that performance that Moon is known for in the Winter Wyvern is another thing, but it's just a bit different from Fnatic, right? Especially that pause 5 Zeus. I mean, it can work. Zeus is actually a pretty nice support if you can sustain yourself. It just also falls flat if it doesn't have a great time early.
Yeah. Well, we get into it, Jonathan. We'll start with the bot lane, of course, because that's where we are. Fu are going to be on the Phoenix and Raging Potato onto the DP. Of course, they are going to be against Raven once again on that Juggernaut, and now Januel on the pause 5 Zeus. You said that there is a lot of potential with the support Zeus, John, and I do agree with you on that. But how does the laning stage go here for Fnatic and SMG? At least down at the bot lane.
You kind of want to just keep harassing up while you can. At the least, the Zeus won't care too much for the attack speed slow from something like the Fire Spirits of Afu, so you can just keep spamming out the Lightning Bolt. You would want your early sticks to fly out here for SMG's end. No stick on Raging, no stick on Afu, so you're going to get a lot of value here from Johnny Well just spamming out a bit. But I think as long as you hold true to the first mana pool of Johnny-Well, you have a pretty decent time. You can just clear out the wave, you can keep applying that Fire Spirit attack speed slow onto Raven, make this a pretty tough lane. And Johnny-Well does have 3 Mangos on hand, so he's ready for the long haul. But once you run out of those resources, it won't do much unless he gets a reset.
Yeah, absolutely. Over in the mid lane, of course, Moon, Armel going to be going at it here on the Winter Wyvern and Batrider. And John, it's been a very long time since I've seen Winter Wyvern come out. How do you feel about this one?
Yeah, look, but obviously Fnatic had to take it away just to block Moon from going for the Midwinter Wyvern himself.
Right.
The matchup against Batrider, it can feel pretty decent early on. Like, as Fear pointed out, Batrider's laning phase doesn't feel amazing. Armel does have good damage with a Blast, with the Arctic Burn, some good uptime to spam that, and Moon can't really gap close up against a range hero like that all too well to threaten with Firefly, so it's harder for him to look for the aggressive opportunities, harder for him to wave clear. He doesn't have as much wave clear as the Winter Wyvern.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of just said it, John. Moon's having a real rough time now as Armel not going to have quite enough. Arctic Burn not doing quite enough damage, but I do agree with you on that point here, Jonathan. I think the Midwinter Wyvern's very, very good against that mid Batrider, and well, like you mentioned, he just can't get close to actually get the damage off he wants.
He's going to have to wait for some levels. Rune control going to be extra important for Moon, considering that you have so much value here for Armel with the early wand up. Again, one of the things when you're laying against Batrider just feels great. So Moon's going to have to get some help from his supports. They do have great rotation potential, especially with the Enchanters. We'll have to see if there's enough room to maybe make a play or two with Moon once he has some levels up on the Firefly.
Yeah, he's in trouble. He went for that sticky napalm just to keep the stacks going, but Armel going to juke it out and for another Arctic Burnout. There won't be enough damage this time. How about top lane? How's that going? Mid one on that lone Druid with Pylai Die on the Ench against DJ on the Snapfire, and of course Jabs on the Lycan. Very interesting kind of carry to pick up here from SMG, though hold that thought, because Raven down a bot lane is going to find Arfush for first blood. So a very strong start for Fnatic onto the Jug. But going back to the lone Druid pickup, John, I realize we've seen mid one play this many, many times before in previous metas. How do you feel it fares in this kind of game?
I think it actually fares pretty well. It plays into mid one's early aggression and farming patterns he loves, although we're seeing a bit of a chase on Pylai Die. He does have a heal stalling out this process massively, still getting a nice pull off. And dragging Jabs all the way across from that lane. So you're giving a lot of room out to the lone Druid. He can farm easily. There's not much kill threat onto the LD. He's got enough range to stand back. The cookie combination still there. DJ's still getting twacked by the potato creep. Just walk out in the end, but that's a lot of damage done to DJ already.
Oh, absolutely is, John. It certainly is. Oh, even the Hellbear coming in now for Armel. Very annoying from Pylai Die. A bit of cheeky micro, and of course, you and I know, John, if this was the SEA server we were playing on, or a pub game, you know, the other mid laner would be complaining, oh, you can't 1v1, got a 2v1. It happened to me the other day, John. We won, by the way, in case you were wondering. It's Moon in trouble again. In big trouble is Januel going to make his move in, and 2v2 this time around. They do secure the kill, Januel with a very nice rotation.
And you can just see Fnatic drags all their supports out early. They managed to work the water runes to their advantage. They know they've got to keep that Batrider down from taking rune control, from even getting a top up. And they're building up on Armel. He's had a great lane. It is coming at the cost of the side lanes. Like, mid one has almost a free lane to farm up in. Jabs can't really slow him down. The threat of wolves doesn't do much against mid one. So the timings of our lone druid is going to be pretty darn quick. You expect the fast Mask of Madness on the bear. And, you know, that leads to the fast farm timing you'd want on the LD, and even some aggression if they want. Like, you've got some great ways of going through that jug spin if you get lucky on the bear.
Yeah, certainly so. I do wonder how mid one does build up this lone druid this game as well. So again, it does feel like one of those heroes that you don't get to see very often, especially in this region. And when you do get to see it, it is quite a treat. It's a matter of how he wants to build it up. We'll see what does happen as time does go on. Interesting point though, like against the Wyvern, and I think you were the one saying this, Sean, but choosing Lone Druid into a Wyvern, generally not the idea that you want to go for, right? Because the bear does do a lot of damage. It seems like SMG though, they're still very confident with this style of draft.
I think they're just banking on maybe jumping the Wyvern first down the line, would say your Batrider, just being disciplined with how you split up, and just playing from there. It can be a bit of a back and forth when you use that curse. If you're not clumped up for it, of course, no damage will come through. Your team can kind of set up around it, but you don't really have the most amazing follow-up from Fnatic's end. I guess Kiss is probably your best bet if you time it right. And so we'll have it's all down to execution there. If you can catch mid one, staying too close to his team. Still another scuffle over these runes here.
Absolutely. Mel gonna move in onto Pile I Die, but the enchant is there to slow him up. DJ, he'll go for a cookie, but Moon, he's looping around. Mel, he's got curse, but Moon's been very careful with his positioning. Mel does not have a good curse to throw out, so he's just gonna drop as Moon. Plays that one very, very smart and does secure a very important kill here against Fnatic.
And I love to see that aggression out from the SMG supports. They've got a lot of early presence here, especially now that the Ench can take some bigger creeps, and they're going for more.
Yeah, they are. Jabs, in the meantime, going to get taken down on the Lycan. Another great rotation from SMG. Mind you, John, while that was happening, Raven does actually go into the Dire Triangle and steals all the stacks away from Moon and the Batrider. So you do get a fair bit of farm going the way of the Jug and a bit of farm denial the way of SMG, but hell, I don't think they care right now. I mean, just look at Moon. Chasing down DJ, has the lasso, not going to play around. It's Genuel, he tries to help out, but he just can't do much. But maybe now they can punish Moon. Nah, he's going to be fine. They can't catch him with the Lycan.
Okay. And they're just clumping up top. Armel.
They're for a run. Arctic Burn is about to wear off mid one. He might just keep going. In fact, now with the cavalry coming in, they should have plenty, but Winter's Curse is there. It'll hold down a couple. Zafu should drop and does, but they'll find the mid-winter Wyvern once again. SMG doing a real darn good job with their positioning, just not allowing a good curse, but Moon now in trouble. Tried to TP in the tree line, but now does get stunned up though. A nice stun from the Centaur as well. Though Moon should surely drop here, and well, he'll go for a run and he'll try to get away. Wolves are going to keep the vision up. Surely there's no way he gets out of this, as the cookie does land very nicely from DJ. Moon's still trying to run though with the sticky napalm. He might actually just make it out, and he does.
Radiant's top tower, Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
He's going to get a bottle top up as well from Offwu. Nice and safe into the stacks he can go, although they look to still play aggressive. You get a good push going now for mid one. Also one aspect of the Lone Druid, of course, very fast to push, along with the DP on your lane. Raging's been left alone, gets a solo push down Batu. You're seeing the same beats here from SMG, Mike. They're taking these early tier ones. There's no defense really coming out from Fnatic. And if they start to clump around the mid, the map control loss from Fnatic's just going to kind of bleed them dry. You still need a lot more farm on Raven. You need a ton more farm on Jabs. You're still trying to get that Dominator. When you're close, and even with that Dominator, as Fear pointed out, you've got the Ench, right? The panel pointed this out. You can always just enchant the Dominator creep. I'm not sure how impactful that really will be, even if that item is there.
It's not going to be that easy, that's for sure. For Jabs, we'll see what he gets done. I mean, at least the very least, you get to the Helm of the Overlord timing, and you don't mind the enchant too much anymore until Pile I Die, say, hits level 20, where you'll have the enchant Ancients talent. But yeah, like you said, Helm of the Dominator, not going to be doing so much this game. And it's certainly going to keep mid one just farming up on this Lone Druid. And John, I say mid one's farming, but right behind him, Raging Potato on the DP, he's been left alone bot lane. He's having a very free game right now.
He gets a solo push on the tier 1. The whole of Fnatic was focused up top, where all the heroes were clumped up. And now SMG has this really nice downtime to keep the build up. They want Moon to find some extra items first, maybe go for his travels before getting extra aggressive. They are starting to respond though, grouping around the triangle.
PyLite should drop here surely, and they will get him. Nice start here for Fnatic, but that's going to be about it. They'll always allow PyLite to just die like that for the sake of knowing where the side of Fnatic are, and seeing 4 heroes in the triangle would make the side of SMG feel very, very good about their own positioning now. So you look at the way they're split up across the map, everyone's just farming. They trust the draft to be able to overtake and just out kind of scale Fnatic later on. And when you've got a lone druid and a DP free farming like this, or even the Bat Rider kind of free farming, it's very problematic. And speaking of the Devil, Moon gonna move in. Januel, he does go for the heavily jump out. Moon, he'll keep going for a chase, but won't want to fight into Armel. In fact, maybe he does. Curse is thrown out. Illusions will keep it going. Moon, maybe going a bit too far, maybe punished for it, though eventually, surely he goes. He'll bottle up, and he's gonna make it out. Jabs will chase him down. He should go down, surely. The flame break knocking him away, and the Lycan's out. Moon, oh, he'll go for a lasso. Jabs, don't die like this, Jabs. Fear is out. He will get Moon in the end, and he'll be fine. Root is there, though. Moon holding him down, or rather, Mid-One's holding him down as Jabs gets out. In the meantime, Raging Potato, he'll get a triple kill on his own. The Death Prophet just getting it done. And Jabs, well, he's still trying to run here, John, but it doesn't feel like he's getting out. Not anymore as an ultra kill goes the way of Raging Potato. SMG, I don't know what they had in their coffee today, John, but it's woken them up.
No, I think they had some mate Mike. They're fully energized after running around. Moon stalling out that fight, splitting it up. The curse wasn't the biggest from Armel. I mean, the illusion damage was nice, but again, the follow through wasn't quite there. They don't have the burst. They didn't manage to line up for, say, even the kisses coming through. The levels weren't quite up on Zhao to try to clean up either. And now you have this ultra tanky DP who's more than willing to run around. BKB being farmed up. Once that BKB is up, you don't really have any good solutions for that DP in the middle. And Pi is just so aggressive running forward.
You love the way to play like this, though, as the end, right? Like, this is exactly what SMG want. They just want PyLite to frontline and keep getting information about where Fnatic are. And I think he's just doing a splendid job here, John. Really just a fantastic job from PyLite. It may not look pretty, but this is how you play the POS 5.
Yeah, he's just buying space, forcing responses out, scouting out very well. Kind of like what he was doing on the clock, right? He was taking initiative, being the hooker, and this time he's just giving info. Buying time, ensuring they can farm an SMG, ensuring that they play this aggressive Talon. It's back to that point we made earlier, Mike. They've managed to clear out all the tier 1 towers here on SMG's end. Fnatic has no tier 1s, tier 2 already under threat. Bot, the push coming out from a lone druid bear, which is Mask of Madness, is enough to force an early fortify. And they're not quite committing for the defense. They know SMG's not going to go on the all-in, but the threat of just finding a tier 2, taking the outpost, and just controlling their own jungle from Fnatic, it shrinks the map down severely. They're trying to push up top here. Riven does have the Maelstrom, so the farm is still racking up, but that 5k lead from SMG, it's tangible. You know, it's Raging Potato and it's mid-1 being pretty nicely ahead, and even Moon, who had maybe a bit of a slower start, he's right up there, right behind Raven as well in farm.
They are. Bot tier 2 tower to drop as well. Mid-1, he might just keep going here, John. He wants at least a few rotations to try and defend this. And with the Wyvern there, they might just say that's enough. They'll be happy with that. Mid-1, he'll just go right back into the jungle. Almost has a full Desolator up on the Spirit Bear. And Fnatic, I mean, they're still getting some farm on their own end of things, but it's still a lone druid. And this Spirit Bear, once it gets out of control, it's a real menace to try and deal with. And for now, Fnatic, it just doesn't seem like they've hit any kind of spike to try and counter this.
No, they need a lot more. Like, we're seeing the Witchblade build up by Armel. That should add a little bit more of that output on the core Winter Wyvern. And of course, the Healthy Overlord that we were talking about in Jab still being built up. It just doesn't feel like they'll be able to do much with that just yet. I think a value pickup would be maybe a Halberd here for, say, Jabs, just to have a disarm on the bear if it feels like that's an issue. It makes it much more easy to manage. You don't have to worry about the entangle too much, especially while you don't have BKBs. And it just allows you to maybe feed off that bear a little bit more if SMG's not cautious. Although, speaking of, Jesus.
Oh no, my God. That's a lot of damage. He's forced to curse up and just run. It's been a very rough time for Armel here, John, on the Midwinter Wyvern. Just has the Witcher's Blade, but that's about it. And you saw just how fast he melts to the Spirit Bear. You don't want to be forced to curse the bear every single team fight. And if you're mid one, knowing that the opposing mid is so squishy like this, you might just aim him every time.
Yeah, you certainly can just run him down. There's not much counterplay they can do. Smoke out from SMG holding triangle, but they're smoking down bot here.
Oh, they don't get him. Mid one, he's fine. He gets everything out of there.
Yikes.
Yeah, Januel, he was trying to get the lightning bolt off, but just unable to get there in time. And now Roshan's getting started, John. SMG, they know. They forced the rotation down bot. This is all planned from SMGs. They start Roshan. It is going to be scattered out with the Thunder God's Wrath, but they won't mind. They'll just move in. Twilight Die, he does break the smoke rotation as Raven is going to try with the Omni Slash, but it doesn't do enough damage. Now Raging, he can just keep going. Fnatic, they need to back off right here, right now. Raven, he'll pop the healing ward down and run. Meanwhile, Moon, he's in a bit of trouble on the Bat Rider, but he's going to back off thanks to the Sun Ray of the Phoenix. Is now Fnatic. They're the ones retreating once again, but the chase is on. DJ's been caught out. He'll drop with the Snapfire. That's one down here for Fnatic. And SMG, even without the DP ulti, they can move right back into the Roshan. They still have the Deso and the Spirit Bear. It's going to be very hard to defend this for Fnatic.
Yeah, they still have the curse. If Armel finds a good angle, it's not going to be easy without even something like the blink. And not having the Omni means you're not going to have the presence of Raven. So they're forced to surrender that first Roshan. SMG, great plays, great read to kind of just go out. Omni Slash onto Ench just doesn't feel great. Untouchable. It's enough to be through some of those swings with minus attack speed. And now you have to deal with 2 lives up on mid one. I mean, you think about that engagement. Remember when Armel was solo, being chased down solo by mid one? That was without the Deso. With the Deso up, I think the next time if Armel's caught out like that, he's just dead. Like the damage output of mid one right now is just ridiculous with that bear. And SMG is just playing so well to enable that. They're just buying out space. They're being aggressive,
Raven,
but still playing that fork type one.
Raven's in trouble here, John. He'll spin TP out, and he'll be okay. Meanwhile, bot lane, they've got Moon on the Bat Rider. It's a great pickup here for Fnatic. They will take him down, no issues. Nice pick up there. Had you lost Raven, it wouldn't have been so much, but considering they do get Raven out of there, they'll be happy with that Fnatic.
Yeah, still managed to bail out. No Basher on the bear, so it's hard to kind of keep them locked in through that spin TP. And punishing Midwin just a bit for being a bit too forward. Didn't expect maybe the rest of Fnatic to kind of back up Armel. Maybe seeing him play solo last time, figured he'd do it again. Armel's still sort of surrounded, but you're not going to see SMG kind of commit without any of their cores. And they are buying space out. You know, they are allowing that build up for Raven. He's still pretty behind on that jug though, Mike. 7.4k net worth, 2k behind Raging in mid one. Your DP still feeling great, your LD's feeling great, you're getting that blink up on Raging next. With a shard in the middle of these fights, it's going to be hard to manage him with a BKB. Still has an 8-second charge on hand. BKB going to be coming out for Moon as well. Like that Winter's Curse isn't going to do much once that spell immunity's running here on a lot of these heroes. That stealth damage just isn't going to be a factor.
DJ's been caught out down a bot lane. SMG should have no problems with this one, as DJ already committed the cookie to try and get out. He will get rooted up, and mid one will take him down, no problem. Meanwhile, top lane, Raging, he's just fine. They have nothing to cancel the TP. They need their supports around for those kind of kills. And knowing where Fnatic are, SMG, they're just going to force high ground, I think, here, John. Why the hell not? They've got the Aegis up anyway.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
They've got the Aegis, they've got Exo ready to go. A bit of a smoke out from Fnatic, maybe looking for an angle on this high ground defense. Still have a curse, so could be a way to punish if SMG overcommit and clump up.
Yeah, but SMG, they've got the Carl curse, John, and that seems a lot stronger than Armel's, I'll tell you that. As they do commit the curse right here, it's going to be on one. The Phoenix doing a bit of damage with Raging. He's still just fine to back himself out as they'll get a reset with the Sun Ray and with the Spirit Siphon. Raging basically up to full HP once again as mid one. Trying to protect his Spirit Bear, almost going down, but he's going to be able to walk his way out and maybe just respawn it. And he will. Back into the T3 tower they go. They'll force the glyph out. SMG might just want to walk away with the T3 tower here, as it is getting rather spicy now with this high ground defense. And in fact, they're just going to back out of there. Ulti finishes off from Raging. He doesn't want to mess around any longer than he has to. And I do like the way SMG are just, they're not overextending, John. They're playing very safe, very conservative. They'll go high ground for a bit. If they don't get what they want, they back off and they just keep growing that net worth lead. And Fnatic, for now, have just not been able to deal with it.
I mean, they dropped the curse. They aren't able to follow up. And if that curse fails, then you can still whittle away at the wave. You can still hold high ground, but you can't go for a kill. So SMG not interested in that stalemate of just spamming out spells. Just, as you mentioned, keep building up, hit that item spike. Moon has his BKB flying out. That could be the launching point. Maybe you want your Batrider blink right after, but once you have that initiation tool with a spell immunity for Moon, should be a lot easier for him to find some key pickoffs. He's eyeing Raven. Again, doesn't have anything to jump in, so a bit difficult. Raging does find Zhao, though.
It's a silence, but does he have a way to cancel the TP? Not quite. He'll try to bullwhip him, but that's certainly not going to work out for Raging. Nice try anyway. The 6-10 now, 20 minutes in. SMG still in the lead by quite a bit here. 9k net worth to go their way. Mid one, going for the shards build up now on the Lone Druid. Even more annoying here for Fnatic to try and deal with. And in the meantime, of course, Raven trying to go for the Manta build up on the Jug. Been a much slower process for the Jug here for Raven. Again, there's just really not much he can do considering how the other lanes went. He just needs to keep farming while the rest of his team need to keep buying time. And even for the rest of Fnatic, like, they've got no option but to hope that SMG make a bit of a mistake and they can capitalize.
Yeah, I think the big issue for Fnatic is that all their play is coming really from the Winter Wyvern with Curse. You could try for solo pickoffs, of course, and they are smoking up, looking for that right now.
He's going to BKB up, go for a lasso out onto the Snapfire, and well, DJ, he'll get put on the cliff, but he has Cookie to get away from this. Pig out now as well, but Moon should have his way with him, and will do so. Meanwhile, top side, Raven, he'll spin TP out. He's in no danger. It's a failed smoke attempt here from Fnatic. Moon, he'll walk away with another kill on the board on the Batrider, and I suppose on the bright side, at least they haven't touched Raven.
Yeah, I mean, the Jug's farming relatively stable, but it just doesn't feel like that investment's really working out just yet. Like, the Manta's going to help, especially against the Entangle if your Blade Fury's down, but you still have the Basher to worry about. You can't really just jump in and try to go for the spin play with your Shard as well. With a Basher and the Lone Druid, it just makes it really hard for you to stand against the Bear, and SMG just very methodical. You know, they're playing it safe. Just as you mentioned, just go for the objectives. Don't take massive risks, and you know, kind of cleaning up from what we've seen in the early half of this tour. They're being a lot more disciplined.
Okay, there's a decent curse. He got the Spirit Bear there onto mid one, but the Sunray is healing him up. And can they take him down? Mid one, he's still alive, and now the X-Spin drop. He is not going down. Mid one, he'll chase down Raven. They've got the Jug again. They will call it Embrace, but it's not going to help for long. Raven's in big trouble, and is going to drop. Now SMG, they'll go for more. Right into the base of the Radiant side as Januel is going to TP out in time. Meanwhile, DJ and Armel in trouble, and Jabs, well, he's been caught out as well. He's not getting out. Look at Raging underneath the tier 4 towers, not going too far, just getting all the kills he could ask for and right back into the tier 3. Very clean plays from SMG here, John. Fnatic, they're trying their best, but they are just getting outplayed. This game number 2, they'll get charged down once again by Raging. Another triple kill out for the DP. 8-0 on 1 for the offlane of SMG. And well, Fnatic, John, I've got to ask, how do they come back in this game number 2?
It's hard to see, Mike. They need a really good curse. They need to combine their spell damage, catch them off from SMG's part when their BKBs aren't popped on, and try to work that burst window. It doesn't feel easy to achieve that. Your Zeus is a support. It's not like he has Ags. It's not like he has a Kaya or the Octarine. It's pretty hard to get that burst damage from your Zeus. You have the Kisses that can kind of fly out, but you don't have the levels on DJs. It's a level 1 Kisses at the moment. It's kind of inching towards that level 2, but you really want that 18 to be lined up to maybe kill them off a lot faster. It's still a long ways until any of that's up. And again, it's just a question of the Jug. Yes, Raven's farming. Yes, he's top network core for Fnatic. He's behind now by 3k on Raging Potato and by 5k in comparison to Midway. Your Jug still doesn't have the full Manta up, past that point, maybe you start thinking about, say, the Basher to have a little bit control. You could try for the Ags if you feel like you want that added invulnerability state to remove reliance on Omnislash, but it still doesn't feel particularly amazing for the side of Fnatic. And, going to SMG, they're playing so well. I want to point out, this is something that SMG has done on and off really well. Like, their early game just gets really well. It's still the same SMG. It's just a lot cleaner towards this late game. Like, they've fixed a lot of those issues, and now they're going for the smoke kills.
But they are, Jonathan. They move in. Already Genuine going down. SMG, they're still smoked up. They want more, and they know the tree line is full of heroes right now, or rather just DJ. They'll find him. Yule's out, is going to lock him down, and that'll be another support to go down the way of SMG. DJ's going to try and fight this one out against Arfu, but won't be able to survive. All the kills going to Raging Potato. And now this tier 2 top tower, even without creeps, is still in danger. This Spirit Bear, it just hits so damn hard. And Mel?
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Yeah, he gets lassoed here, John. He's gone. 60 seconds without buyback.
And it's a dieback for him. High ground defense is not there without that curse. Like, you can try for some cheeky plays where your Zeus respawn with the Thunder God's Wrath spamming out the spells, but again, it just doesn't feel enough. And this is SMG going for these plays without any protection from, say, Aegis. They're not waiting for that Roche. They just want to go. They know they're ahead. They know they probably don't want to give openings to Fnatic, as we've heard Fnatic say. If the game drags on, they tend to feel like the better team, not even giving them that opportunity.
Raven, he's going to try his best to just spin around and get something done. Moon, he'll make the jump in, but has no lasso available. They'll get the kisses out onto mid one Spirit Bear, but it just stands its ground and just keeps hitting the racks. That'll be the top racks gone. Fnatic, it's getting close to that time to call it, I think. They've got to find a way to force this fight to go their way. Armel's up in 13. Maybe they have a chance with that, but Jabs is going to rush in, but the fear is immediate. Out onto the Wolf, it does nothing. Omnislash not even killing off Pylite Die. He'll chase him down with the spin with the Sun Ray. It's going to heal him up. Raven now just needs to run out, and he will do so. And they've bought out enough time for Armel to respawn up on the Wyvern. And SMG, once again, John, they back off.
They're just so smart. They're so disciplined right now. They know that it's the risk of a big curse. That's the setup. That's the team fight of SMG. That's where it all hangs in the balance. And they just don't give the openings. They go back. They got a DD up on Moon. Roshan is up if they want to go for the objective. But again, they're just looking for the angle to just find a kill and go for the end game.
Jabs can be chased down on the Lycan. Mule Scepter. Gonna lock him down with the lasso. They've caught Armel.
Oh, no.
He does not have buyback available. Armel cannot afford to die, but he's gone. And so is Raven. No buybacks on either. GG's called. Fnatic, they cannot win this game number 2. 2-0 the way of SMG. In something I think nobody expected here, Jonathan. Just considering that the results of the past tour, you wouldn't expect this kind of result here from SMG, but a 2-0 victory, and what a performance coming out from the players of SMG as Pylite Die. I think that's the first time I've ever seen the man smile, John. Happy days for him. And I'll tell you, again, I don't think anyone believed this was going to happen, but you know what that means, Jonathan, is suddenly SCA DPC 2 or 3 is getting a hell of a lot more spicier. It's not just a guaranteed Fnatic, RSG, and Talon are going to the major anymore, John. Things are getting very spicy when you look at those groups.
Yeah, it gets a little bit dangerous, and props to SMG. I think a lot of people underestimate them, but that's not to say that they were weak, right? Like, you look at their game, especially against Boom, where they look amazing. Their early aggression was there. That playstyle was always there. It was just that late game discipline, maybe some of that late game decision making that fell flat. And we're seeing how scary SMG can be if they fix those issues. They have a great time in lane. Raging plays so well in this one on his DP. He was given a free lane. They abandoned that bot lane early on. 11-0-2 on a DP. Like, I have never seen that many more kills and assists with 0 deaths. Like, he played a perfect game, and they just played around that tempo really well on SMG. For Fnatic, I mean, it kind of slows down their pace to go for Arlington. They still have a lot of games to play, of course, but SMG, man, to turn around in the last half of the DPC, that's pretty scary for a lot of teams that have to play them still.
It makes you wonder, what would have happened if SMG were playing like this at the start of 2 or 3, John? I mean, they just beat Fnatic, arguably the best team in SCA right now. I mean, it's arguable, but you get my point. It's just, it's a fantastic performance. Well, we'll go to a very short break. We'll get back with our panel. They'll explain what the hell happened this series, and hopefully we'll have a fantastic interview on the way. We'll see you then.
This is so sick.
Can we just go back to playing games now?